now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
diving, he makes the catch,
and bats start cracking,
it is gone.
We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Loring.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Saturday morning as we get ready for Game 2 between the Giants and the world champion Texas Rangers, managed by Bruce Bochy. So it should be another interesting game today and interesting weekend down in Arlington. The Giants win it last night, 5-2. They continue on this road trip. They are now 2-2 on the trip, and I got to see the game on Wednesday in Arizona when the Giants pummeled the Diamondbacks and stopped that 6-game losing streak. Grand slam by Wilmer Flores, who continued last night with a couple of home runs last night, and Wilmer is getting that bat going now. He's playing regularly, and with Lamont Wade out, Wilmer's getting a lot of playing time, and he's got that swing down. And, boy, you put the ball inside to him, he extends those arms, and he can turn on it, and he hit a couple of home runs last night. But on Wednesday, the Grand Slam was huge, but the story, I think, of the last few days really is the emergence of Elliot Ramos. And look, he's been playing great ball since he's come up, and very quietly he's hit all over the lineup, and now he's leading off. And on Wednesday, he got on an incredible 6 times in a 9-inning game on Wednesday. And something to see. And the 4 walks he got were legitimate walks. I mean, he worked the count, and he got 4 walks and hit a big home run to right center field, and it was crushed. They called it the big boy home run. And then, of course, he hit another rocket base hit and got on 6 times. And he continued last night. He's been on 9 times in the last 2 games and got a big RBI last night. As I'll tell you, the Giants did win it 5-2, and he drove in that 5th run in the 8th inning and made it real easy for Camilo Doval to come in and finish it off last night. So the Giants do snap that 6-game losing streak. They've won 2 in a row, including the game on Wednesday, and they win it last night 5-2 over the Rangers, 5-11-0 for the Giants. They left 11 on base, which has really been the problem, I think, of this road trip and just a lot of what's been going on with them. Look, they've got a record of 31-33, and as I'll talk to you all weekend long, and Gene Bagato, my good friend from Bodega Bay and the Tides Wharf, texted me today and really pointed out how often I've been saying this for so long, that they are in the mix for this wild card hunt. And they've got 33 losses, 31-33, 64 down, 98 to go. And they're stuck in this group of 7 teams for 2 wild card spots. And the 7 teams basically have 34, 33, 33, 33, 32, 33, and 34 losses with 98 to go. So there's a lot of baseball left to go here. There really is. So they win at 5-2 last night. Logan Webb, and I texted this out, tweeted it out actually, about the 4th inning. I said, this is the best he's looked all year. And I'm glad he confirmed that after the game last night. I thought he looked terrific last night. The 4-seam fastball was up. It was really quick. I thought numbers-wise, probably over 94 miles an hour. The 2-seam, the one that runs, and he keeps the ball down. He's so good at keeping the ball down. That was about 92. And he ended up having a good game, and just as soon as I tweeted out, boy, he looks great. Texas scored 2 runs, and, of course, Twitter jumped all over me for jinxing him. I wish I had that power. But he pulled it together and gave the Giants 7 solid innings last night. 5 hits, a couple of runs, 2 walks, and a couple of strikeouts. 7, I think, and 94 pitches for him. And they beat Michael Lorenzen, who they took care of pretty handedly last year. Remember with the Phillies, they knocked him around. He's pitched well for Texas, and last night took him into the 5th inning, and then it was classic Bruce Bochy. It really was nice. He had bases loaded, and he had 1 out, and it was a 2-2. It was a 2-2 game, I think, at that point, or something like that. Very close game. And I think it was up 2-0 at that point, and the game could have gotten out of hand for Texas. Yeah, they were down 2-0. And he went out and got Lorenzen. And Lorenzen could have stayed in there, but Bochy had seen enough. And I love the way he manages. And he went out and got Lorenzen and brought in a reliever. And the reliever got a couple of strikeouts and got out of the inning and kept the score at 2-0 last night. So that was Lorenzen coming out, but he ended up getting the loss. Well, he didn't take the loss, but he ended up sort of being the starting pitcher who did not finish more than 5 innings last night. Robertson ended up taking the loss because Conforto, he's back. And Michael Conforto had a good swing last night, and he's done that as I've watched him since he's come back. Think of how many times he's lined the ball down the left field line, down the right field line, and boy, he gets ahead in the count, and I've seen it so much lately. Ramos the same way. You get ahead in the count, and you really get a pitch you can handle. And Conforto got a pitch he could handle, and he didn't miss it, and hit the big 2-run homer that made it 4-2 in the 7th inning, and that gave Logan Webb the win, and that gave Robertson. He ended up being the losing pitcher for Texas last night. Saw a stat yesterday, I mentioned it to Raph. When the Giants are tied after 6 innings, they're 7-1. Which means they're a late-inning ball club, and we know that from the Pittsburgh series and the road trip through the Mets and everything else when they had all those games where they came back late. They are a late-inning ball club, so tied after 6, they end up winning the game, and they're 7-1 in situations like that. Matos is sent to Sacramento, and Ralph tells me he got a couple of hits last night. Slater has been activated. He will be in there today. A lefty is going for Texas today, Andrew Heaney, and we'll talk about him in just a little while. But Slater will be in there, and it really promoted a lot of controversy, a lot of talk on the talk shows and the internet and everything else about what to do with Austin Slater. Get rid of him and keep Matos. Well, Matos, truthfully, his last 60 at-bats really was overwhelmed, and he wasn't playing great center field either. He's only 22 years old, didn't have a great spring training, and let's face it, he had the tremendous couple of games when he was brought up and all the RBIs and all that stuff, but the league adjusted to him, and he has to adjust back, and he has to learn how to hit that pitch that's away. He can turn on it, on anything inside. He's a bat-to-ball guy. But when you start throwing soft stuff away, which the major league pitchers do, it gave him trouble. So he's better off now in Sacramento, and it's better to have Slater, a veteran, now in June. Now, if it's August and Slater's hitting 140 and he can't do anything that really helps the ball club, at that point you make a move. But to make a move now, I think the proper move was to get Slater back on the roster, which they did in the first game that I saw with him, and that was on Wednesday against Montgomery with the Diamondbacks. So Slater is back, and I'm sure he'll be in the lineup today as the Giants will face Andrew Heaney today. And looking at my workup, 33 years old for him, 2-6 on the year with a 3.99 earned run average. He has been around with the Marlins, with the Angels, with the Yankees. We saw him a lot with the Dodgers. Always amazed me that he had so many strikeouts. With Texas, and of course he was a big part of Texas winning the World Series last year. Last game against Minnesota, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, and again, this is another team that doesn't hit the ball very well. He's 48-54 lifetime, 56 innings pitched this year, 59 hits, 8 homers in the 56 innings. So that's 1 every 7 innings, so maybe the Giants can do some damage that way today. 14 walks and 53 strikeouts for him. Righties have 7 of the 8 home runs, so you know that right-handed lineup is going to be loaded for the Giants today. I imagine we'll see Casale in there for Bailey today with the sort of the day game. I guess it's a day game after the night game. But first pitch, putting it in play, you can do a little damage against him. Runners in scoring position and 2 out. He's very tough, which is typical for a veteran pitcher like him. 4 stolen bases, 1 caught stealing for him, so maybe you can run on him. Up and down the lineup, Flores, who's got the 2 home runs. He had 2 solo shots last night that put the Giants up 2-0. 6 for 13 with a homer. That's good news. Estrada, who maybe will move up in the lineup today, 2 for 5 with a home run for him. And Chapman, 3 for 15 with a homer. Boy, I can't say enough about Chapman and the ball that he is playing. Gets those walks, works the count. Everything defensively, the guy is just impeccable at third. What a pleasure. And he's going to be here. He's not going to opt out. He's getting enough money here with the Giants where if he opted out, I don't think he's going to do better in the open market. That's something to talk about maybe with Bruce Jenkins a little bit today. We talked a lot about it when I was at the ballpark Wednesday in Arizona about the possibility of Snell, people like Montgomery opting out and people like that and Chapman. And, boy, they got in this position of having these opt-outs because they didn't have a market last winter. And baseball is doing this. They're going to the 22 to 27-year-olds. That's what they want. So to opt out at their age now, they're going to be in the same boat that they were that put them into this position to begin with. They're not going anywhere. Snell will be here. Chapman will be here. Believe me. Hicks is locked in. Soler is locked in. Murphy is locked in. So, and Montgomery for Arizona, he's going to be there too. This is an interesting time for baseball, as there really is a transition to a lot more younger players. Other news, basically, Seager is out for Texas, and it's a big blow for them. They don't score many runs. That's the lament of Bruce Bochy, and we'll have Eric Nadell on, one of their broadcasters, tomorrow. They just don't score a lot of runs. They've got the third baseman, Young, is out as well. But Seager is the big one, being out with a hamstring. He's going to be out 3 or 4 days. So they haven't put him on the injured list yet, but he is a big blow, not having him in the lineup. Seager absolutely can hurt you. A lot of great things happening in baseball. Boy, the Dodgers last night won in New York in Yankee Stadium, 11 innings. Nothing into the 11th. Teoscar Hernandez, a big double. Put 2 on the board. The Yankees got 1 on the bottom of the 9th, and Dodgers win at 2-1. 48,000 at Yankee Stadium last night. The Dodgers come back to New York, and the old Brooklyn Dodgers, Yankees, it still stirs a lot of memories. A great game last night. Yamamoto, 7 innings, maybe the best game he's pitched all year long, 7 shutout innings. So Garrett Cole's on his way back for the Yankees as well. So that was a good one last night. San Diego behind Profar, hit a homer, cleared the bases with a triple. Boy, this guy is going to be an all-star. And the Padres just walloped Arizona last night. The Cardinals end up losing to St. Louis. The Rockies ended up losing to St. Louis. And the Dodgers, with their win, they're 40-25, and they've got a nice lead in the National League West. All right, pitching today for the Giants will be Spencer Howard. And Evan Weeback will be with us shortly. If he covers the Giants for the Merc, he'll tell us about Spencer Howard. We've seen him pitch. I think he's done terrific. He went from the Phillies to Texas, and then Texas let him go. He's a big prospect with the Phillies, and he's pitched all right for the Giants. So he's going to pitch today. Who knows what they'll do? They keep saying they haven't announced anything yet. I assume it's Spencer Howard starting. Maybe Miller will start. Who knows what they're going to do? But this is a day of, looks like, kind of piece it together, and then probably Keaton win tomorrow against Evaldi to wrap up the series. So this is going to be fun today. The Giants get a nice win last night. There's so much to talk about. It's June baseball, and we've got so much more to go. This is survival time is what I call it. Just survive June and July and get me to August, and then we'll see what we're going to do after that point. So, all right, it's Saturday baseball. We've got a lot on the show for you today. Raph is back in the studio, and we're going to have a good game, Giants and Rangers coming up. Evan Weeback joins us, covers the Giants for the San Jose Mercury News right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Experience the epitome of luxury and craftsmanship with Inicio Windows and Doors, another exciting product line from BMD Manufacturing. Inicio Windows and Doors sets the standard in ultra-premium European design. Wow. for the most demanding American building standards. Available both in steel and aluminum, they are meticulously engineered to elevate your living space to new heights of sophistication. Learn more about Inicio Windows and Doors today. Discover the perfect blend of European beauty and style with unwavering durability and strength. Visit InicioWindows.com. INICIO Windows.com. Inicio Windows and Doors, where European design meets American craftsmanship. Fans, I heard from Gene Bagato up at Bodega Bay, and with the arrival of summer and the ensuing warmer weather, there's no better place to escape the heat than the Sonoma coast. Up at the Tides Wharf restaurant in Bodega Bay, there's something for everybody. From the always popular fried calamari and New England clam chowder, to an in-house smoked fish and the Bodega Bay burger, made with fresh chuck ground daily to ensure top quality. In the fish market, I love the sand dabs, one will find everything needed for a picnic at the beach or just to take home. And if you're looking to stay a while, the Inn at the Tides is just across the highway, waiting for you with its spacious rooms, all with bay views and a heated swimming pool. So if you're looking to get away this summer, remember the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay.
Prepping you for today's orange and black ball game, we now take you back to Talking Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for baseball today. We go down to Arlington and bring in Evan Weeback. He covers the Giants for the San Jose Mercury News. Ev, how are you today?
Marty, I'm doing great. I'm sitting in the baking sun with a plate of smoked meats in front of me. It's beautiful and then beautifully Texan, I think. So,
well, I want to tell you, you sent me this text, and I want to describe it. I'm looking at, is that corn? Is that corn you got in there too?
So it's actually it's a barbecue joint with a little bit of a Mexican influence. So it's a side of elote, it's some street corn, which is tremendous. And then we've got beef ribs, which are literally just melting off the bone, almost like a fatty brisket texture. And then got some bacon burnt ends to go with that, and a couple tortillas rolled all up into a taco, and it's glorious. They don't, all respect to Matt Horn, but I don't think they do barbecue like this in the Bay Area. It's something special, man.
Okay, well, I just put your text on the stream. So everybody, all the thousands and millions of people watching the stream got to see what you're having for lunch today. Very good. I love it. All right. So now, meanwhile, you're down there, and it's kind of interesting. It's Bochy against Bob Melvin. These guys have managed against each other for years, and you get to see Bochy in the Texas dugout. How does that feel?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. It's a Texas-sized dugout, first of all, which Sean Jelly appreciates, and he always is hitting his head on the top of these dugouts. And here, Texas was the home of the 6'10" general manager Chris Young. Apparently, took that into consideration, and Sean Jelly is plenty of clearance above his head, and Bochy's a big guy too, so I think he's appreciative of that as well. But yeah, no, it's always good to see Boch. I obviously don't have quite the relationship with him as some of the other folks on the beat do, coming in after he had left. Although I will say, one of the very first people I met on my first day in Arizona, my first day on the beat, was Bruce Bochy. He was over at the minor league complex at Papago Park, fulfilling his duties as an advisor, been helping out on the minor league side, and that was right. It went during the lockout too, so it was just hanging out on the minor league side, because there were no major league players, and he came up rolling on his golf cart. We talked a little bit, introduced myself, gave me some restaurant recommendations over in Scottsdale. He obviously knows them very well. But yeah, it was I think it was maybe not quite as meaningful now this year as it was last year. Obviously, Bochy came through San Francisco last fall and kind of got all the sentimentalities out of the way. And there's not a lot of familiar faces left on the Giants roster. Still some, obviously. Boch spent a good amount of time talking with guys like Dave Kreshner. He's catching up with Austin Slater. And we got a chance to ask him about Elliot Ramos too, who is not a guy he ever managed in the big leagues, but is a guy who he was there in the dugout when Elliot was 17 years old and he was drafted, and sitting next to him, being introduced as their first round pick in 2017. And now we're seeing what Elliot's doing 7 years later at 24, and Boch is as appreciative of that as anybody.
Wow.
But yeah, for him, I think he said it's really just kind of just another game at this point. Kind of got it out of the way last year. I mean, added another World Series ring to his collection. But I think a matchup with Bob Melvin is always kind of meaningful. They've had a lot of them. I did the math yesterday. It was their 155th time meeting in the regular season. Those two managers, dating back to 2003. It's a sixth iteration of uniforms that they've worn in these matchups. So it's just a ton of history. And Bomel bested him again last night. That's 85 wins for Bomel and 70 for Boch in history in the regular season.
Wow. Evan Weeback with Ev. I hear a lot of action in the background there. Can you move to the side or something? And it sounds like a lot of kids eat.
They're enthusiastic about the barbecue, and I don't blame them.
Yes, they are. And we love having them on the live stream there. It's a lot better. Yes. Thank you. Logan Webb last night was terrific. I thought it was his best game of the year.
And he said as much. And it's kind of followed a theme throughout, a few of his starts lately where, I think that just about every one of them afterward he said, I felt my best that I felt all year. And it was the same last night. 7 innings, less than 100 pitches. It's something the Giants just desperately need. Logan is kind of a unique breed himself. just in terms of across the league, but I mean, especially so on this Giants pitching staff where, Kyle went 6 innings in his last start, and that was the first time that anybody not named Logan had done it since Kyle did it his last time in Colorado, which was a month before that. And, they've only gotten 2 7-inning starts from anybody other than Logan Webb. And, it's really starting to tax the bullpen. And obviously there are some circumstances as to why, Robbie Ray is not in the rotation. Blake Snell's not in the rotation. Alex Cobb isn't in the rotation. Even Tristan Beck, who was supposed to be, a pretty key part, has obviously, been rehabbing this entire time after that super scary aneurysm in spring. And, he's starting to throw again. And so are all those other guys, actually, that I mentioned, throwing off flat ground now. And, they hope to be able to, buoy them in the second half. And they're going to need it because they've been relying on guys like Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks. And to an extent, Keaton Winn, although he's also been sidelined. But those are guys who are going to be hitting their innings career highs in the second half and, pretty soon into the second half, too. So it's a balancing act because you've got those guys who you're going to have to worry about their workload. And then you've got the bullpen who's taken on the second biggest workload in the majors this season because of their limitations and not working deep into games. So it's really a puzzle that, Bob Melvin and Farhan Zaidi and everybody in the Giants are trying to work to solve right now in terms of pitching.
Well, they do. Boy, Evan Weeback is with us. He's having the Texas barbecue. You can hear the kids in the background. Ramos, and look, Bob Melvin got upset Tuesday night. They played a bad game Tuesday night, and he let him have it. And then, of course, I saw you on Wednesday, and Ramos was on base 6 times last night. He was the same force last night. He really was. He's had 2 games. He's turned the corner. This, for folks who haven't seen him recently, you have to watch what Elliot Ramos is doing these days.
Well, and it's at the plate and it's on defense. I mean, like you said, he's made, a couple running catches in right field. He made a running catch in left field. He's now moved to center field, and that seems to be pretty seamless. And that was something that the Giants weren't particularly comfortable with, at least at the start of the season. Ramos hadn't played a lot of center, at least in the last couple of years. It's been mostly in the corners. It is something that he had done kind of, 2022 and before. And, as, Matos kind of hit his bumps in the road and ends up getting sent down, and the Giants are looking for center fielders. They don't want to play Yaz in center because he's so good in right. So Elliot went up to Bob and said, hey, I have played center, and, if you'll give me a shot, I think I'm going to take advantage of it like I've taken advantage of all the other opportunities that you've given me this season. And so far, so good. And, it's just kind of like it's just a nice story, right? Because I think fans of, obviously Elliot's been on the radar for, forever, being a first-round pick 7 years ago and a highly touted one at that. He's been up and down and never really had any traction. It would seem like he'd come up for, a week or two, and if that, and wouldn't be playing every day, but he's gotten an everyday opportunity, and, it's kind of the same everyday opportunity that we thought was going to go to Luis Matos. But as, we've seen the league adjust to these young hitters, it seems like Ramos is the one who's adjusting back a little bit better. I think, as we saw Matos kind of cool down, the scouting report was out on him a little bit, and it's the same report that's, been out on him as a prospect for a long time, is that he will swing a lot. He's got great bat-to-ball skills, but, he will chase. And we saw that, a very high chase rate before he was sent down, after his hot start. And, look at Elliot Ramos and all these walks he's drawing. I mean, there's a certain swagger about it. I think he values walks, and it's been something that's been instilled in him. But you can value walks as much as you want. It takes pitch selection to do it, and that's what he's developed in this stint, I think. And it's been really impressive. You look at just the league-wide stats, and it's not just that he's been one of the best outfielders on the Giants. He's been one of the best outfielders in baseball. But if you look at the metrics, especially wins above replacement.
Fabulous. I mean, and plus I saw it with my own eyes, getting on base 6 times in one game and 4 tough walks. And, Chapman, he'll get his tough walks. Conforto will. They work the count really well, and they're not missing their pitch. And I think the offense has turned around a little bit. Ev, what about shortstop now? Schmidt had a rough time on Tuesday night. We saw Fitzgerald there on Wednesday. Wisely was there last night. We've got the lefty Heaney going today. What are they going to do at shortstop, and how close is Ahmed to coming back?
I think today's lineup is going to be pretty telling in that regard because, to my from my perspective, it's the Brett Wisely show. And it's going to be a matter of if Melvin's comfortable playing him against lefties. Because what we saw, from Schmidt defensively and offensively for the most part since, the duration of the time in the big leagues, maybe not the most sustainable. And Bob is somebody who really, defensive miscues and misplays and kind of boneheaded mistakes, those are going to be what eats at him and what he really holds against guys. And I think that was partially what prompted his outburst after Tuesday's game. But yeah, I mean, the shortstop has been rough. We saw Luciano make a bunch of misplays, and we saw Schmidt make a bunch of misplays. Even Tyler Fitzgerald, the very first ball hit to him this season, he made an error on his shortstop, and he's a natural shortstop. It's where he came up playing, even though he's moved all over the diamond and been put into some uncomfortable positions elsewhere. But yeah, Marty, I think it's the Brett Wisely show for now, and it might be, for a little while longer too, because Nick Ahmed is, as far as I know, not particularly close to coming back after hitting a setback in his rehab assignment. He went out to play one game in Sacramento. He came out of that game. His wrist is still feeling sore, and he hasn't played since. I talked to him afterward, and he felt like it was going to be a pretty minor thing, something that would only sideline him, set him back for a couple days. But that was last week, and he hasn't played in the game since. I think if Brett Wisely can, kind of keep up the hitting that he's been providing so far, I mean, he's been a little bit of a spark plug down at the bottom of the lineup. So, I think Bob really likes what he's gotten out of Wisely, and would certainly like to get more out of Luciano when he gets back from the IL. Although he may be right for more seasoning at AAA just based on the roster.
Yep, it could happen. Yeah, Wisely, his arm has really been good at short, and he's played well. He's made himself into a good ball player. I like what you said about Wisely. I agree with you. I think he should be the guy now, but I'd still like Fitzgerald and the element of speed that he brings to the ball club. He can change it. He can change a game late in the game when he's in there. All right, so today it's Spencer Howard. Is this an opener, Spencer Howard? Is he the bulk guy? What do we expect today?
No, we're getting a real start from Spencer Howard today. It'll be his first one with the Giants, at least. He's got a little bit of major league experience starting with the Phillies and Rangers. And we've obviously seen him, take down some bulk innings the last two times through this turn in the rotation. The Blake Snell spot, as it was. And he's been effective. It's not necessarily, the most exciting or electric stuff, but, you look at the numbers. It's a 2.08 ERA through two starts, almost 10 innings. So, I mean, he's kind of done the job. We saw him last series in Arizona, his last start, and the Diamondbacks were teeing him up. It was something like 6 of the first 9 balls put in play were at 100 miles an hour or harder. Yeah. But he adjusted and he started pitching backwards a little bit, implementing relying a little bit more on his off-speed stuff to set up his fastball, which, again, is not blowing anybody away. It's, 91, 92, 93. But he was able to adjust and kind of got the Giants through that game. Didn't result in a win, but I mean, he's been fairly effective. And, the Giants are, I mean, like we discussed earlier, they're really, really desperate for some stability, not just in that spot in the rotation, but, the rotation as a whole.
Well, the bullpen seems settled. I mean, I know Duvall had the meltdown against the Yankees, but he came in last night and was comfortable and didn't get in any major trouble. He had the 3-run lead. The 8th inning belongs to Tyler Rogers, that's for sure. Luke Jackson is struggling a little bit right now in that 7th inning. How do you see the end of the game now with the bullpen?
Well, I think Ryan Walker has kind of stepped up and taken on a higher leverage role, and I think you could probably say the same for Eric Miller and Randy Rodriguez. And, I think that those three are kind of the guys who are really kind of give you reason to believe in the bullpen group as it is, because, there were a lot of holdovers from last year, right, Marty? There was Camilo and the Rogers twins, and, I think the emergences of these guys have kind of make it a more well-rounded group. And we've seen, Melvin is very comfortable going to these young guys who just, throw bullets in the late innings in high-leverage situations. And, we're starting to see guys like Luke Jackson falling more kind of into down games where, maybe there's not as much trust there. And, to get him built back up to, I mean, he was an effective reliever for a long time, won a World Series in Atlanta. And obviously we can't talk about the bullpen without you mentioning Sean Jelly either, who's really come into his own here.
Yep.
And really just embraced kind of the relief role, and has said how appreciative he is of the staff kind of telling him that this is your job, you have a job, and just do the job, right, rather than kind of going back and forth between roles and AAA and all that. So I think that's been a positive. That would honestly be my takeaway. Is, out of all the position groups, I think on the team, definitely the most emergences and kind of breakout performances have certainly come out of the bullpen so far.
Yeah. Well, as they say, he has a jelly roll right now. He does.
I was talking to him the other day. He just mentioned offhand how the group was starting to gel together, and
yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Got a very big sigh from Sean Jelly.
Very good. Yeah, tell him I said jelly roll too. Well, one more for you before you get going. Evan Weeback, it's great to have him on. We got a great report on what's going on with this ball club. Soler, I saw the home run he hit on Wednesday, and let's face it, when he hits them, you just drop the bat. You know it's gone. Came up with a couple of big moments last night and, again, had trouble. But looks like he's putting the bat on the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the lead that I had written if they had lost was that fifth inning. Wilmer Flores and Soler coming up with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
It had just looked like, they had kind of turned things around, right, the day before. Soler's big home run, Flores a couple home runs, and the exit velocity on Wilmer was even more encouraging, something that he hasn't really produced this season. But that's something that Soler has never struggled for. I mean, he has been smoking the ball for the most part this season, and at least from the eye test, it's just often really been at people. And there's just no analytics to back this up, but I can't remember a guy who I've seen hit a ball so hard, so frequently that finds leather. So, I think that the Giants are hopeful that that just kind of turns around. I mean, he's obviously got a long track record. And we've seen flashes of it, right? But, when he comes up in some of these runners in scoring position situations, I think that he's aware of some of the struggles that has been to start the season. And, you can see him press a little bit in some of these at-bats. We were just discussing this in the press box the other day. It's like, yes, he's maybe had the worst luck that we've ever seen. But he's also put together, quite a good number of bad at-bats, too, where it does look like he's stressing. And, the combination of those things means that, you're not benefiting from the good at-bats, and, your bad at-bats aren't really resulting in much. And that's kind of been the level of production that they're getting out of him, which, there definitely needs to improve. We saw, Chapman is a guy who has very similar, kind of underlying data where, swings the bat fast, hits the ball hard, makes good contact, and for a while there it seemed to be kind of the same story where he was just finding gloves a lot of the time. So I think they're kind of hopeful that Soler will turn the same corner. I will say in the clubhouse, he's a respected guy. They see him go to work. I think his friendship with Wilmer Flores is valuable. Just the fact that Wilmer is such a respected guy, and they see Soler kind of taking the same mentality of, taking everything in stride, taking the same work ethic every day, day in and day out, not, getting too far down, at least, until you come to the plate and maybe press a little bit. But in terms of the day-to-day, he's been steady and, carrying himself in high regard.
Well, he did. He hit a bullet at Suarez on Wednesday, just a rocket with the bases loaded. And Suarez got the play at the plate, and then Flores did kind of the same thing. So, yeah, he's hitting the ball better. We'll see. Hey, Ev, enjoy the day today. Enjoy the smoked meats, and wherever you are, it sounds pretty good. And we'll see you soon at the ballpark. Thanks, Ev.
I'm sweating already, Marty.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's Evan Weeback. He covers the Giants for the San Jose Mercury News. Good food report, too. He's going to take over for Alex Pavlovich, who apparently is the food critic of the beat, so to speak. All right, more coming up. Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions, next, right here in the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, it's great to have you back with us as we're joined by Grant Power. He is the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, I love to talk about the menu at Nations, especially this time of year. What's going on?
Well, just as spring brings real baseball games, spring brings the strawberry season at Nation. And we do not believe in frozen strawberries, so we only have them during the spring, summer, and early fall months when we can get them fresh from Southern California. That time's arrived, and so strawberry tart, strawberry cheesecake becomes our best-selling pie during this time of year. Strawberry pancakes, strawberry French toast.
How about breakfast at Nations? We talk about that a lot.
For 27 of our locations, any time of day, I love getting breakfast at night. We can mix and match, sub, if you don't want the hash browns and toast, we'll throw in the French toast or the pancakes. Your choice of meat with the breakfast, again, the wild salmon goes wonderful with the eggs, but we got the bacon, sausage, linguiça, you name it. You can't really experience the Nation's dining experience if you haven't tried the breakfast at least once.
I love talking about Nations. Grant, great to have you with us. Have a good day. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Marty.
orange and black family, the godfather of Giants baseball now continues. This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
Mark Simon. Mark, I love you, man.
All right, Mark Simon joins us from Sports Info Solutions. Mark, it's great to have you with us today. And Mark A. Simon says on Twitter, Mark, how come you're not in London with your team?
Because that's an expensive trip. And it's a really expensive trip if you want to do it for baseball, from what I understand. And that team that you're referring to isn't playing particularly well, even though a sweep over the Nationals kind of vaulted them back into the, hey, they're not so terrible after all.
Boy, the Phillies, how about the Phillies? I saw their home record. Does this count as a home game for them? I don't know what it counts as. They're 27-9 at home. How about that?
Yeah, they've been ridiculous this year, and they're built for it. Like, this is a lot of the team, obviously, that they've had the last couple of years, even though they're dealing right now with the injuries to Turner and Marsh and such. But they have starting pitching, and that's a tough thing to have in today's baseball teams. Noel's been great, Wheeler's been great, Suarez has been like a Cy Young pitcher, and Christopher Sanchez, their number 4, has been excellent too. So they're able to get deeper into games, I think, than most, and their bullpen's got some strength too. Alvarado can be a little dicey at times, but their setup guys are pretty good. That's a very strong team that I think is right there with the Dodgers for sure.
What? All right, the Mets and Phillies, they are in London. Well, that game would be this afternoon. Well, the Giants are in Texas. They've won 2 in a row here. And as they said, if you win a game, it's a winning streak. So they have won 2 in a row. They have this winning streak going. But they see Andrew Heaney today. He's been around. He's a left-hander. I'm always amazed that he strikes so many out. But what should we expect from the lefty today, Andrew Heaney?
Yeah, you're right. He only throws like 91, 92 miles an hour, and his velo's gone down actually the last couple of years. He can be pretty tough because I think the fastball elevates, and I think that makes it challenging for guys to hit it. I would say watch the 4-seam, which is essentially what I'm talking about, because his other pitches haven't necessarily been that great this year. So I think if he's going to get the Giants, it's going to be with the fastballs up. If he leaves one too far down, I think then it runs into the back path of Chapman or Ramos or Flores, and they do some damage with it.
Well, how do you like Flores? And, of course, you saw him as a Met, and it's almost a lifetime ago, but 2 home runs for him last night, and then he hit the slam on Wednesday. How about Wilmer Flores right now?
So it's funny. I went and I looked at his numbers this season because I was like, okay, he's got 3 good games in a row. What do you do with him in the lineup? You bump him up. This year, when he's hitting second or third, he is 10 for 70.
Wow.
I don't even need to tell you what the batting average is on that to tell you that. To
143.
Get the wow.
143.
Exactly. And that's the thing. If you follow baseball 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, you memorize what batting averages become.
Yes.
But yeah, 143. Anywhere else in the lineup, he's 291, including all 4 of his home runs. And I think there's nothing to that in terms of like legitimate, you shouldn't ever hit him number 2 or number 3 again. But I think for superstition's sake, for another day or 2, you might want to let him stay hot in kind of the middle bottom part of the lineup. So that's my tidbit on him. He's been there for them the last few days.
Well, I'll tell you, I with my own eyes, I saw 6 times on base for Ramos on Wednesday and a major home run. And look, last night, even the balls he hit last night, 110 miles an hour, 105. I mean, he just crushed the ball last night. And then plus he gets his walks. I hate to say it, to jump ahead on this thing, but I think the guy has really turned the corner.
Yeah, this is what you would call post-hype prospect success, I think, because he was hyped up, a year or 2 ago and did nothing with it. But now the dust settles a little bit. It's kind of like, and I know he's not necessarily hitting in the American League, but Joe Adell in the American League is getting a chance with the Angels. He's been better defensively. He's hit some big home runs for them. Ramos is getting it done. The thing that I'm a little wary about, though, is the batting average on balls in play. is like well over 400, and Ichiro didn't have that. Like that's not going to last. So when he dips, and like he was pretty good in AAA. He was 350, 360 batting average on balls in play in AAA. But when he dips to 330-ish, if that becomes like his level, he's going to have to strike out less to be a 250 hitter in the major leagues. So that's something to keep in mind with him. Right now, he's a meatball masher. Anything that's middle of the plate, he's destroying, and as good as anyone in baseball the last couple of weeks. So ride it out and hope that he improves in other areas too.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of the ground balls are hit so hard they undress the infielders, and they go
Right,
for hits.
That builds the BABIP. Yeah, that'll give you a bet. Like people say, sometimes the guy, you have to look at like a 300 batting average on balls in play. That's for pitchers. For hitters, a good hitter that can do what you're talking about can be like a 330 or something in that range, or can have a really good year where they're even higher than that. But 400 something, that's unrealistic for
good.
Okay. Games.
Good one. All right, Mark Simon. Oh, that's a good point. Good point. Who's the umpire today? I thought the guy last night, I don't even know who it was. I thought he called a very good game last night.
Yeah, tonight is Dan Iasonia, who is a pitcher-friendly umpire, which will benefit any of the 9 pitchers, I guess, that the Giants will throw out there tonight.
Come on, Spencer Howard will give you 5, right?
Right, if Spencer Howard pitches and he gives you 4, then I guess, all right, then it's only 5 or 6 pitchers. Dan Iasonia has it's weird, though, because, and this will be interesting for how it's presented on the broadcast, how it's presented, how the managers kind of observe it. He seems to have a spot, like the inside corner to righties and the outside corner to lefties, where he is very friendly. It's the same spot. It's not outside corner to both. It's outside corner to left-handed hitters, inside corner to right-handed batters, where he is very pitcher-friendly. And I'll be curious to see if you see a guy, a right-handed hitter throw up his arms and get strike 3, or a lefty hitter get struck out on a pitch away that's an inch or 2 off the plate. I'll be curious to see how that fares today.
Well, let's see if Heaney comes inside to right hand, because this lineup is going to be loaded with righties today, and 7 of his 8 home runs have been given up to right-handed hitters. So let's see if he's tempted to come in to the right-handed hitters today. Flores has hit him 6 for 13 with a homer. Strada has taken him out as well, and so has Chapman. So that may bode well for the Giants today. Who do you think is the guy who's going to hit him best today?
So I think it's actually going to be Chapman. I know that the numbers aren't like overwhelming against him, but as you said, he's got a home run. I think he's going to try to get pitches up to Matt, because that seems to be Matt's weak spot, as we know.
Right.
And I think he may come down a little bit, and that's a pitch that is in Matt's wheelhouse, and that's something. If I was going to pick a guy to click today, I would go Chapman.
Okay. All right. Look, as I've said on the show here, there's 7 teams for 2 spots. They've all got 33, 34 losses, and I'm not even including your Mets or the Nationals. I'm not going to include them, okay? So things are happening, but the team that jumps out at me, and I love pitching, and I just see the Pirates. Their offense is mediocre. They've got some young players, Gonzalez, a few of them are starting to hit a little bit. But, boy, they throw a starter at you every day, and they have a bullpen, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, it's when you presented me with a list of teams, that was the one I was most eager to talk about, because they're going to have some decisions to make as the season progresses with Skeens and Jones and managing their innings. Because, again, as you just said, basically all they have to do is get the 6th seed. And if they get the 6th seed, then they can start Keller in Game 1, or they can start Skeens in Game 1, Keller in Game 2, and Jones in Game 3, and that could knock somebody out that probably deserves to be in the next round and steal a series. I don't think that they're dangerous enough to win 2 or 3 rounds in a postseason, but if they get there, they're going to be an annoyance. And I say that with the understanding that they have to set themselves up so that Skeens and Jones and Keller will pitch. But Skeens and Jones have to be able to pitch in those games. You're right about the bullpen. Bednar has settled down after that rocky start to the season. And they've got Colin Holderman, who has been very good, although I think he had a game that he muffed against the Giants.
It's pitching and defense. And the Giants have to tighten up that infield defense for sure. But it's pitching and defense. That's what wins in baseball. And when you have a group of teams like this, none of them really hit a lot because the whole league doesn't even hit a lot. There are only 4 teams over 500 right now. So it's pitching and defense. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking at defense now to see who's got the good defensive team, which brings me to San Diego. You get Tatis in right field. Now, the guy got, 8 hits in a row? I mean, the guy is just really hitting the ball. Is he playing decent right field?
So this is kind of funny, and this is something that I wrote an article about. That's why I wanted to bring it up, that he's on this great offensive tear right now. But if you watched him play and you watched what happened on some of the balls that have been hit to him this year, you would be saying to yourself, this guy looks like a first-year right fielder. But he's not. He's a second-year right fielder who was a platinum glove in his first year and was incredibly good last year. He was catching everything. It was almost like he had this – it was almost like a snowball effect last year where he was good and the good just kind of built and built and built and built, and he was catching everything. And this year he's looked like what you would have thought a shortstop converting to full-time right fielder would look like. He's muffed balls. He's lost balls in the sun. He hasn't thrown guys out at the same rate that he was throwing guys out last year, and more guys are advancing against him. It's not a large sample necessarily of balls, but it's kind of mysterious given how good he was last year when he was basically all-world, that he's now settled down into this average, slightly belowish kind of category. And that's, I guess, something to watch next 100 games or so.
It's funny you say that because we saw it in the first series.
Yep.
With the first series, remember how many plays he misplayed in just the first series against the Giants? We were shocked at that. But
and it's like snowball effect. It's the same thing. It's a snowball in reverse.
Yeah, the bat plays.
For sure.
And come on, he's got his buddy Profar. Who needs Machado? They got Profar. Come on, a homer last night, a base clearing. Triple last night, and they pounded Arizona last night, and they're the team that's kind of ahead of everyone for one of these spots. But no one is separated. That's why I say
I hate it. Can I say that? I hate that you've got like these 12 teams that are 33 and 34.
They'll separate.
They will. I understand that that's going to happen, but it's an annoyance right now because to me it feels like there are, as you said, 4 good teams in the National League and 5 maybe in the American League, and then there's this road of mediocrity that a lot of teams seem to be set on at the moment. But as you said, that'll probably change.
It'll change, and it's pitching. That's why this playoff system, you come in with just as you described. I saw it with Arizona last year, and I saw it with Texas, the way Bochy handled his staff. You come in with pitching and you catch the ball, you got a shot. And as Jerry Seinfeld says, Raph, oh no. Yeah, could use an oh-no there from Mark Simon right there. Yeah. Hey, it's great to have you on. Love it. And next week we'll talk again. It'll be the Angels and the Giants next weekend. So plenty to talk about. Thanks, Mark.
Cool. See you later.
All right. Be well. That is Mark Simon. Mark A. Simon says on Twitter. All right. Bruce Jenkins next right here on the Sports Leader. Fans, nothing better than spending an afternoon at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room in Yountville. You can relax as you enjoy a selection of limited production estate wines paired with local artisanal cheese and charcuterie. Your host will guide you through each unique pairing while sharing the incredible story of Priest Ranch. Now, while you're there, you must try the food at our new restaurant, The Kitchen at Priest Ranch. It's right next door to the Priest Ranch Tasting Room and serves amazing, fast, casual food. That's an afternoon. Fans for great baseball gear, check out Baseballism. The store is located at 3rd and King opposite the ballpark. Whether it's jackets, shirts, hats, you name it, Baseballism is the most unique store I've seen. It is the best. 3rd and King, right opposite the ballpark. Just a quick note about the rooftop restaurant at the Via Hotel, the Hotel Via across the street from the park. They do a wide variety of events on the rooftop, from weddings and birthdays to corporate retreats and special events, holiday events, and any other special occasion you can think of. With stunning 360 views of the skyline, Bay Bridge, East Bay, and of course Oracle Park, the rooftop at Via is truly one of the most unique event venues in San Francisco.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Laurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for Game 2 between the Giants and the Rangers today down in Arlington. Spencer Howard will pitch for the Giants, and Andrew Heaney, the left-hander, for the Texas Rangers. Bruce Jenkins, how are you today?
Doing well, Marty. How's it going?
Good, very good. And, I got to see the game Wednesday, And Ramos, Bruce, let me tell you, he was on base legitimately 6 times. And it was just amazing to see this kid come around. And even last night, everything he hits, and Mark Simon said this, everything the guy hits, even the ground balls are hits because he knocks them past people.
Yeah, he's just spanking the ball. It's so impressive. You know, when he came up, he had a few trials. He never really looked at all good, and I'm thinking, this guy, I don't get it. But all of a sudden, you know, it clicked in for him. You can't. Very few people show up in the bigs and tear it up and never slow down. And he's just been so good. I mean, you start thinking him in terms of the permanence of him with the team and starting next year. And, you know, he's got power. And also a little bit of a surprise is how well he plays the outfield. He's got a good arm, good instincts, and covers some ground. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw him, and I saw him, I think, in the instructional league, I remember this, and I don't know if I mentioned to you or not, but his physical size when I saw him, and he was just a kid then, he looked like Willie Mays. You know,
yeah,
he's not
huge, yeah.
Right, not tall, and he's got that sort of that stocky build, just like Willie had. And I said, boy, and he's playing center field. And I said, okay, you know, he's not going to be Willie Mays, but he kind of reminded me of him a little bit. But they are going to adjust to him, and that's the big question. Because I want to talk to you about Matos that you wrote about. Baseball is a game. These major league pitchers figure it out, and you've got to adjust to it as a hitter.
Yeah, well, what Matos did when he was going good, and he was really going good, he wasn't striking out at all. He was driving in runs, was just to be patient and not to swing at the bad pitches, get the one you want. It's kind of basic, but, you know, they started pitching him, you know, low and away because he was getting pretty dangerous, and he got a little too aggressive with those pitches. I think he thought a little bit bulletproof. You know, I'm gonna start going deep now and watch this. And I really can't imagine it's a huge problem. I don't think he's quite as polished as obviously Ramos as a hitter. You know, right now, we'll see what some time in the minors does for him. But I didn't want to see him go down because I think he deserved a chance to get himself back together. 10 bad games. I mean, okay, that's going to happen, but I didn't feel it was right for him to go down, especially because the veteran guys who are going to be playing are just not impressive.
Yeah, I know it's June, and for me, Matos being 22, and Bruce, you wrote about it. You made a compelling argument about it today in the Chronicle online. I read it this morning, but for me, Matos, just to watch him. Just his body language and the way he was punching out so much, and maybe even in center field. I thought it was okay, and I know he got 2 hits last night at Sacramento, but what are you going to do with Slater at this point? I mean, it's June. He is a guy. He is a veteran, and it's tough to just say, okay, we're going to let you go now and stick with the kid who hasn't had a hit in 59 at-bats.
Well, they do need, insurance in the outfield, and that's who they've got.
Right.
They've got Slater, and he does have some value against left-handed pitching. He's certainly not a dangerous hitter. He's not at all appealing to the fans. I mean, he hasn't really been that guy, really a super dangerous guy against lefties for a couple of years for a lot of reasons. It's tough when you don't play every day, and he's been hurt, but there's just nothing inspiring about his presence with the team. He's going to be a free agent. He might very well, look for a better opportunity somewhere else. So, but he's what they got right now. He's not going to embarrass you. I mean, he's a professional. He plays a decent outfield, and I mean, he's not going to hit. What's he hitting? 10 or whatever.
Well, he's 5 for 43 or something.
Yeah. Right? So you ride it out. It's tough. I mean, unless they make a trade at the deadline, which they could do. I mean, they've got a lot of young guys. They've got a lot of kids in the minors that are drawing some attention, Eldridge and those guys, and so they could make a deal for an outfielder, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, this Ahmed thing is getting to be a problem. And Evan Weeback said there was a problem with his rehab, and there was had a setback and all this kind of stuff. Because now, I mean, Casey Schmidt had a tough game Tuesday night, and Melvin lost it. But finally, Bob Melvin, as I said, threw the spread over, at least orally, so to speak.
Yeah,
and
the mythical spread.
Yeah, said something about, this is not acceptable. And then he had Fitzgerald in there when I was at the game on Wednesday, and he had Wisely last night. And I like Wisely and Fitzgerald. I think they both bring an element there. If they can play good defense, you got to play defense at short. If they can play there, I think you're okay.
Well, yeah, you know me. I've been backing Schmidt on this program almost weekly.
I know.
And to watch what he did the other night, I mean, dude, what are you doing? Those were not.
Yeah.
He knows he should have made. There were three of them. He should have made all three of those plays. And I just kind of threw up my hands. Well, if you're not going to make the plays, it was like Luciano making 3 errors in the 9th inning of close games. This is something you can't have it. So they're a little bit stuck there. Wisely does seem like a better choice, and Fitzgerald has the talent, but it's like you say. I mean, there's all these guys. I mean, it's just a wild mix. I'm sure nobody's going to start 15 games in a row short. They just aren't. And then Ahmed, whenever he comes back, he gives you some stability, but it's not satisfying with any of these guys, for my money. And it's really a shame that Luciano didn't come up and seize the moment. And of course, he's hurt again. The guy shows up in spring training with a hammy. Now he's got another hammy.
Yep.
So for heaven's sake, it's all pretty depressing. And that's such an important position. The Giants wanted that game so bad Wednesday night, and for Schmidt to just fall apart at that position, it just was tough to watch.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. But look, the kid is a third baseman. And
that's true. Yeah,
he's a third base, and they're putting him at short. I thought Bochy had a Bochy moment last night with Lorenzen. It was 2-0, bases loaded. The 5th inning, Lorenzen hadn't thrown 90 pitches yet, and he went out and got him, and because he had loaded the bases and it wasn't pretty. And he said, look, Boch said, it's 2-0. I'm getting him out of here. I'm getting somebody else in right now. We've got 2 big strikeouts to get out of the inning. But I don't know how many managers would have done that to a starter in the 5th inning. It was a classic Bochy, I've seen enough move.
Well, we've seen it more and more recently. Kapler did that way too often last year, especially with Alex Wood. There was a recent example. Sean Manaea, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. He was 1 out away from a win, and he's kind of cruising. It's sort of not. It's not that uncommon anymore. That to think that a guy is on the verge of a win and he's kind of cruising. It just doesn't matter as much as it did. I think it's mattered to Bob Melvin, and I think it should matter. It should matter to the team, to the other guys on the staff, and especially the pitcher that's involved, if he's got a chance to finish it off and there's no apparent reason. The bases are loaded, whatever. I mean, let him get a chance to get out of it. But, hell, he's Bruce Bochy. I'm Bruce Jenkins. So, I mean, come on. What am I saying?
Yeah, he did it. No, he walked out there, and I know Lorenzen wasn't thrilled. And you're right, Gabe did that quite a bit. But I just felt that he had seen enough. And it wasn't analytical. It wasn't, like I'm going to pull this guy because a lefty, right? He just said, I've seen enough. So, whatever, it worked. And then Conforto got the big home run. Conforto, Bruce, the guy gets a pitch. He does hit it. When he hits it, it does go. He's not bad.
He's not bad, exactly. He's not horrible. That's the category we're talking about here. So, I mean, but he's the injuries and the slumps that he's had, it's a tough hang as a National League corner outfielder. When he broke in with the Mets, he was absolutely that, and he was a show, and he had pockets of fans. He was almost a cult figure for a while there.
Yeah.
And things went sour on him, and it's just tough to think that this guy's going to be a mainstay down the stretch. He could do it, we'll see, but there's a lot of negatives there.
Yeah, you're right. He basically is a placeholder. In my book, what he's doing. Chapman's still hanging in there. I think he's getting better. We had this discussion in the press box on Wednesday about these guys that have opt-outs. None of them are going to opt out because there won't be a market. They didn't have a market last year, and they're not having the kind of year that says, hey, you must sign me for, $50 more million. I think everyone's here. Snell's here, Chapman's here, Montgomery's in Arizona. I don't think anybody's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, Chapman, I don't know, if you're looking for a third baseman next year and you happen to catch some of these runs that he's on as a hitter, you're thinking, this guy works for me, but, the consistency isn't there. The defense, oh, my goodness. I mean, it's almost worth it to take a shot at him. But you're right, the value will not be excessively high. And it's for him, I don't know if he really wants to move on from the Bay Area. He might. It depends on what kind of offers he gets. But you got to hit. He doesn't hit enough to be a huge name on the market, I don't think. And Snell, Snell obviously is. Nobody's looking at him right now for next year.
No, he's here. Believe me.
Yeah.
And, well, Robbie Ray, there's good news for Robbie Ray. It sounds like he's coming along, and he may be effective for the Giants. It sounds like it's going to be about another month, but I'm glad at least that his name is coming up every week now.
Well, it is great because Cobb has had a bunch of setbacks, and who knows when he's going to get out there. He's been very frustrated, but Cobb actually saw he saw him pitch recently. He saw Robbie Ray pitch, and he said he looks like himself. It was very, very encouraging to see him. He's on his way back for sure, and that's terrific. I mean, if he's going to be Robbie Ray, what a bonus. The rotation's taken some hits lately, and people are saying it's a weakness of the team. I don't agree with that at all. I think Webb. I like Webb, Harrison, and Hicks, and if Ray comes in, it's a blessing. And you never know, Snell could get hot, so I still think that's a strength.
Yeah, no, I think the pitching still, as I said, this whole little group of 7 teams, the pitching is going to be, pitching and defense will be the story because none of them really hit a lot. It's really a pitching defense kind of thing, and for 2 spots, and the Giants are right in the middle of that. Hey, how did you like Elena's, the restaurant? It's part of Original Joe's and the Dugan family. Elena's, it's in West Portal, the Mexican restaurant. How'd you like it?
Well, we were up there recently just sort of wandering around, and we just saw this place, and it was impossibly crowded. We went to the bar and ate there and had some drinks, and it's an elegant-looking place. It's in a terrific neighborhood, one of the best San Francisco neighborhoods, a real hidden gem of a neighborhood. And then we went there recently with another couple, and they had a terrific time. It's really, really an excellent joint.
Yeah, little Original Joe's in the marina is open now, too. So, 2 guys sitting at the counter. We got a few different places to go now.
When we get to Ed's, then we're in trouble.
Really, Ed's Mudville Grill in Clayton. How about that? I've done shows from there years ago. How about that?
There you go.
God. I love the A's news. You never know what's going to happen. Now Dave Kaval says if we go to Las Vegas, we want to play 8 games somewhere else. It never stops, the news out of the A's.
It's so great. They're fleeing Vegas, and they haven't gotten there yet. I mean, it's just whatever. Maybe the contingency they're looking for is they want to leave some dates open in case they go to London. They're a big draw in London, I'm sure, anywhere. And they just want to leave room for playing elsewhere. But it's just the timing is just so brutal. Nobody thinks they're going there. Nobody thinks this is going to happen. And all of a sudden they're figuring out how they're not going to play there. It's so A's, and I feel bad. It's a very compelling team, and they pull out exciting wins with some regularity. And they got Miller out there closing out games, and guys have some power, and these clowns in charge are just making a mess of it every single day.
I listened to Ken Korak last night, and it was great to hear him on the air. And it was a walk-off for J.J. Bleday, and
right.
I think it was fireworks night, so there were a lot of people out there last night. But it was like the old days. It was great to hear it from Ken. One of the best, isn't he? One of the best. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and he's such a pro. I mean, the atmosphere over there is so dead. You can't make it alive. There's nothing you can do with that. But he's such a pro, and he loves ball. It's big league ball. He doesn't care where he is, who's playing. It's big league ball, and this is what he does. And he's the ultimate pro. And he really is just aside from being a professional, he's just very good. Period.
Yep, I loved hearing it last night. J.J. Bleday, the wall, the track. It's he gives you the levels of where the ball is at that moment. It's like when you go in an airplane, they do the tracking of where the plane is. He does that. It's the wall, the track, and it's over the wall. He takes you right there. I tease him about that.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Dodger game last night? 48,000 in Yankee Stadium, New York, Yamamoto, and Cody Petit. But it turned out to be a classic.
Well, yeah, it really did. I mean, Yamamoto goes in there and they don't score on him. The Yanks are on such a roll. They didn't have Soto, who's got a little bit of an issue with his arm, but Yamamoto, he's blowing high heat past guys. It's not like he's throwing 102, but the people have talked about the movement on his fastball. It's very unusual. At a certain release point, it doesn't really sink much, and it appears to rise because it's not sinking very much. He's got other pitches in his arsenal, and he's basically been good almost every time out. And it's interesting though, in Japan, you pitch on every 6th day, and they've kind of adhered to that here, and they've done it with Glass now too. And at some point, that's not going to work. I don't know how they figure it out. It's pretty much a breeze until, maybe all the way to the playoffs for them. They got an 8-game lead or whatever it is. But, when you get into the playoffs, you can't hold a guy out for even 4 days, really. I mean, ideally. So that'll be interesting. But he's a real story, and they've got Gavin Stone going. I think he goes today.
Yeah, Gavin Stone is today. Cortez for the Yankees today.
Yeah, that's a great matchup. Did you notice that they had Kike Hernandez mic'd up, and he's at third base, I think, and he's answered some questions. And then they answer him a question, and as that question is answered, he makes an error while he's on the air, mic'd up, and he didn't say anything. Thank God, he didn't say, "Well, I'll tell you what." He was upset. He made an error. He just completely shut the whole thing down, and I was glad to see it in a way, because it always makes me uncomfortable when guys are interviewed while they're playing. It's very rare you're going to get any insights. Occasionally it's kind of fun, but there's a lot of options for disaster to happen. I was distracted by being on the air, and it cost us 2 runs or some such thing.
Yeah, they do it with him all the time. ESPN's whenever the Dodgers are on, he's their go-to guy.
No more. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Hey, the Mets-Phillies are in London today. Now, the last time this happened with teams over there, remember, there was like 25 runs scored in the first game, so they must have changed the baseball. But let's see what happens today. You looking forward to seeing this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Ranger Suarez is going.
Yes.
Which is great, because he took a ball off his wrist, and people are going, "Oh, my goodness, the pitching hand." But he apparently is okay. He's been fantastic, and the Mets. I don't know. The Mets are always interesting. I think it's Manaea today, so
yes,
that's a pretty interesting matchup. Especially in that setting. But it's a good matchup. A New York team is always a good idea to travel, play in Europe, whatever sport it is. Because it's New York, and there's a lot of New Yorkers everywhere. But the Phillies, my goodness, what a good show. I mean, the Giants know all about them, but it should be fun.
Phillies are 27-9 at home.
Yeah.
27-9 at home. You cover so much ground. I love your columns. It's always fun. And I don't know if did you see this one about, maybe you wrote about what's the NFL is going to play in Brazil, and there's a question of colors of what the team can wear and all this. Have you seen this thing?
Well, whoever wears
green,
yellow,
right?
whoever is yellow and green is going to be big, because that's the national soccer team colors. Maybe everybody should wear yellow and green down there. You won't even be able to tell who's who, but they sure look good.
Yeah, the NFL, there's some issue with green in Brazil. So, yeah, this is what they do.
So much for the Jets, I guess.
Well, it's bad for the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going. I think it's trouble for them.
Yeah, they don't have the Eagles or the Jets for sure.
Yeah, good. There's another. I love some of the stuff that's written about baseball, and they had something. One of the writers had the best righty-lefty hitters, duos of all time, and of course they love Judge and Soto and Judge, and they came up with a couple of them. Betts and Ohtani, Acuna and Olsen, and then I said, well, what about Bonds and Kent? Come on, was there anything better than that?
Well, that's 2 right-handed hitters. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Barry Bonds. I was thinking of Bobby Bonds. Sorry, whoops. His name came across my mind this morning. But, Mays and McCovey. Forget about it. It's over.
Yeah, that's true. Mays and McCovey. You're right. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story. But, so Judge and Soto's hurt, and they had Verdugo in the 2 spot last night. Then they had to push Stanton up behind Judge. And, the Yankees are a little different without Soto in that lineup.
Yeah, they are. I don't think that really lasts. I don't think they're going to have some kind of drought. I mean, you got Volpe and Rizzo and LeMahieu that's a really good lineup. They could do without Judge for a few days. They could do without Stanton, and I think Soto might be back in there today, but it did look different, and we're so used to seeing the full-strength Yankees. I asked Tim Kirchin in email, have you ever seen anything like these three guys? Not just power hitters and showmen, but just three awe-inspiring guys. And Stanton, who they don't talk about, he hits the most awesome homers of anybody. I mean, he really does. They go into the restaurant, or they take like 1 second to go into the bleachers. And Tim Kirchin said he's never seen anything like it. I think you and I mentioned Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Joe Adcock, and Canseco and McGuire. Maybe you throw in Dave Parker, but it's hard to find a precedent for that, for three guys like that.
Well, in the old Yankee Stadium, the original Yankee Stadium, they would have had 70,000 last night. At that game last night. That was a good one when the Dodgers come back to New York. Hey, let's take a look at one historical note on today's date, 1977. Nolan Ryan. Yeah, you forget, Bruce. This guy struck out 19 in 10 innings against Toronto. Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, he struck out 19 batters 4 times.
Wow.
2 of them were in extra innings, and then the other 3 were all in one season. 1974, he did it in a 9-inning game. Then he did it twice in extra innings. 19 Ks. I mean, this guy. There's really nothing like him today. I mean, Paul Skeens is a little reminiscent of Ryan, but still, just the whole presence that he had in the career. I mean, the year that we're talking about, 77, he struck out 341 guys, and that wasn't even his career high. Wow. He got to 383. Yeah. But that night, this was the 13-inning game. He didn't even get the win, and it ended in the 13th when Bobby Grich homered off Tom Bruno. But the Angels, not the Angels, Toronto pushed together a run, the only run off Ryan. Dave McKay, of all people, who we knew as an A's coach for years. He's still coaching. Yeah, Arizona. He dropped a bunt, and Ryan made an error, and a run scored, and the Angels sent it into extra innings when Bobby Bonds, this is why his name came across, single homer run in the bottom of the 9th, and Ryan got into the 10th, but that was it. 19 Ks, game tied, and Dave LaRoche came on to pitch when Ryan left the game.
How about that? Lob. Dave LaRoche, right. Remember? He threw the big E-fist pitch as I'll put on the stream as it used to do it. Yeah, to follow Ryan. Boy, great stuff. Great stuff. We always should remember. And Nolan Ryan had so many decisions because they never took him out. And, he probably had 600. He probably had 600 decisions in his life.
He was like Bob Gibson. You didn't really go out to get him. You just let him walk off the field and maybe talk about it in the dugout. But don't have him walk off the mound. That's just not happening.
19 strikeouts. That's a good one. All right. Have a great Saturday. Talk to you early tomorrow morning. Thanks, Bruce.
You bet. Thanks, Marty.
All right. Be well. All right. Coming up next, Keith Law from The Athletic. Keith Law is covering college baseball, and he's got some interesting prospect news for us. Coming up next right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, I want to welcome Rick Robin Construction to the family this year, and Rick is an expert in the home construction, remodeling of kitchen and baths in Napa and Sonoma. And Rick, what really impressed me, the way you approach your business. Now, let's say I'm a guy who says, I want my kitchen remodeled. What do you do?
Well, the first thing you do is you'll call, you'll speak to Tammy. We'll meet and talk to you and say we're going to do a kitchen. We'll decide what kind of kitchen you want. And if you like the estimate, I'll come back out, take detailed measurements, and then I'll take you down to our 30,000 square foot showroom and meet our designer. So you'll pick out all your cabinets, stone, your sinks, faucets, your flooring, and create color renderings that you'll receive the next day. Once all the material's in the warehouse, we'll pick it up, deliver it, start construction. Beginning to end, Rick Robin Construction takes care of it. Rick, it's a great way to do business. Fans, if you want to get in touch with Rick, it's Rick Robin, RICKROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, how about a phone number if folks want to call you? Yeah, call us at 707-332-7575, 7 days a week. Rick Robin Construction in Napa. Rick, have a good day.
Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Laurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you with us as we get ready for Giants baseball today. Nice to have everyone on the live stream with us. Announcing that we will, Ron Wotus and I will be doing a show together at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room on July the 8th, 5:30 to 7:30. Yes, Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room in Yountville. Will and I will be there July the 8th, 5:30 to 7:30. All right, Keith Law joins us. Keith is an expert. He writes for The Athletic. He is an expert on the draft, on prospects, and college baseball, and it's a thrill to have him. Keith, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, we're doing well. Let's get right into it with you. You're in Virginia watching UVA and West Virginia. Well, how is that super regional going?
It's Virginia is hosting Kansas State. Virginia won game one.
Close. All right, I was close. Okay.
That's all right. West Virginia was in another barn burner, too. So Kansas State had a lead last night, 3-0 at one point. UVA came back, tied it, gave up the lead, tied it again, ended up winning 7-4. Pretty exciting game. Overall, and probably, I'm going to say 5 or 6 guys will get drafted in the top 5 rounds between the two clubs. Probably some better talent on Virginia for next year than for this year, but UVA, as is typical for them, a lot of really polished hitters in the lineup. Several guys I think you'll see go off the board in the top 5.
Boy, I'd love to hear. Can you give us a little of your preview? And we did this last year, and you were so right on with that Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens and everybody else. How does the top of the draft kind of figure to you as we get ready for it?
So I've said this many times on The Athletic too. This is not a great draft class. It's not a great top of the draft, but it's particularly lacking in depth. I do think you've got a pretty big group of college players, somewhere between 7 and 10 college players, who are going to go off the board pretty high. I really think the first 7 or 8 picks will probably all be college guys, maybe even more. And some of those guys are going to move pretty quickly through the minors, either to the top of the minors, even to the big leagues. I don't think we have the stars. There's no Paul Skeens, no Dylan Cruz, no Wyatt Langford, and the high school crop doesn't have guys to match last year's Max Clark and Walker Jenkins. And that's really coloring everyone's opinion of the draft. Because when you don't have, especially that upper echelon of high school position players, it means the teams aren't as excited, so to speak, about their second pick, whether it's in the sandwich round or in the top of the actual second round. The whole idea of saving a little money with your first pick because you have a large bonus pool to go well over slot to sign some potential star in the second round, it's harder to see that this year. I think a few of those players are out there, but we are having a much harder time as a group identifying who those guys might turn out to be. And so it means there's probably going to be some big misses, some big whiffs, some overdrafts as you get to the end of the first round into the top of the second, because teams they still want to find those guys. We're just having a hard time separating them from the rest of the pack.
Boy, Keith Law with us, always a good insight. Let's go back to last year a little bit. We saw Skeens, who, Bruce Jenkins and I were just kidding around like a Nolan Ryan. He's done that. Dylan Cruz with Washington maybe soon. Langford we'll see in this series here. We saw him last night. He got a hustle double for Texas last night, but he struggled a little bit. Let's look at the top 5 from last year. How are they doing?
So Skeens, as you said, has been as advertised. I actually argue he's been better than advertised. Mostly in college, when he was at LSU, he almost exclusively pitched four-seamer slider. And there were some concerns over the shape of the four-seamer. It was pretty straight. It was very hard. It was up to 102 pretty much every start. But this offseason, he, with the work of the Pirates, with the help of the Pirates, added a two-seamer with a split grip that he calls a splinker. Yohan Duran with the Twins also throws a pitch like that. And I think that has made an enormous difference for Skeens. He's also got a true changeup. So he's now a pretty clear four-pitch pitcher. And that, to me, changes kind of the whole outlook for him. Like, it's very easy to see him as a long-term number one starter with that more complete pitch mix, so that the concern that the fastball's got high velocity but not other good characteristics, I'm not worried about that anymore, because he can just go back and forth even with the four-seamer and the two-seamer and keep guys off of both pitches. So he's clearly established himself so far as the best player in the class. I think Langford will probably end up long-term as the best player. I think him racing to the big leagues like he did is an indicator of just how big the upside is. I think the fact that he struggled a little bit offensively, he's been hurt too, is an indicator of how hard it is to hit in the big leagues right now. We're seeing a lot of very highly rated prospects like Jackson Holliday, Jackson Churio. They destroy the minors, and they get to the majors, and whoops, these pitchers are a lot better. And they have better stuff, they have more stuff, they have more pitches, and they're better able to locate it. And so we're seeing a longer adjustment period for some of those star prospects getting to the majors. That hasn't dimmed my optimism for Langford over the long term.
Boy, let's talk Giants just a little bit and follow up on what you just said. Hunter Bishop has been pushed up to AAA because all the AAA guys were needed in the big leagues because of all the injuries. And this Bryce Eldridge, Ron Wotus has told us a lot about him in San Jose, the big kid, the first-round pick last year. Anything cooking with either one of those that you see?
Well, why don't I start with Eldridge? Since probably got more recent history and data on him. I saw him in the draft last year. I saw him a little bit in spring training. He is a big kid. It's legit 6'7". It is big power. It's hard contact. Unlike most of the 6'6", 6'7" hitters we've got kicking around in the majors and the high minors right now, he has a shorter swing. I am more optimistic about his ability to manage the sheer size of his strike zone, which is something that's given a lot of these tall guys trouble. More of a chance than I give many of his peers who are similar size. I wish they were playing in the outfield. I think he's only played first base. That does limit the ceiling. He's a reasonably good athlete with a great arm. He was up to 95 off the mound in high school. So I think he could play right field, but they've decided to just have him focus on playing first base. I do really like him. He's got to perform a little bit more. There's some swing and miss. This first full year out, and he does have a large strike zone to manage, so there are things for him to work on, clearly. I mean, in Bishop's case, I'm thrilled that he's just back and healthy, right? He didn't play at all last year. He barely played in 2021. He only played about half a season in 2022. So the fact that he's been healthy enough to even get to AAA right now, he'd never even been in AA before this season. That's a really positive sign. What scares me a little bit about what we've seen so far this year is it's all the plate discipline stuff that was there, even when he was drafted, that's still there. He doesn't walk a lot. He chases a lot. He swings and misses a lot. He's going to have to really tighten up the approach to be able to have any value in the big leagues. There's big power there, but he's got to make much, much better swing decisions before I could forecast him to have any kind of impact as a big league hitter.
Well, how do you like Ramos? And he was on your board for so many years as one of the prospects, and it's going to fell off everyone's board. But, Keith, let me tell you, his last 4 weeks have really been exceptional in the big leagues.
Yes, and I'm cautiously optimistic here. Remember when he first came up, there was was that 2 years ago now? He was not ready. He was absolutely not ready. And I think it started a bit of a roller coaster for him where you're up, you're down. Oh, we're going to send you back. You're up, but you're not going to play. And then, he would go back down. I think there was some thought that he was kind of upset at how he'd been handled and didn't necessarily take it well. I mean, I want to be charitable and understand that it probably was disappointing how he was handled. He was pressing to try to get back to the big leagues. And then he came up to the big leagues last year. He struggled again. And there's some little signs of weakness so far this year, but I think there's more positives. It looks like he is making better choices. He is working the count more. We are seeing some of the better contact quality. I don't think he's a 320 hitter long-term necessarily, but I think we're back to the point where you could say, that's got a chance to be a pretty good regular. And if that's the outcome for him, that's a huge win. I would encourage Giants fans, if fans are saying, well, we thought he was going to be a superstar. That's probably not going to happen. I don't want to say impossible, but unlikely. But if after everything that this kid's gone through with the organization, if he turns into a really solid everyday outfielder for them, huge win. You should be thrilled.
Boy, it's fun. It's fun to watch him develop. Keith Law with us. One question for you. Last one. You are covering the College World Series. These are the Super Regionals. Who's your pick to win this thing? Is it Tennessee? Is that the choice pretty much?
Oh, gosh, if you'd asked me a week ago, I think a couple of the teams I would have picked all got knocked out. Like I thought Wake Forest. I saw them early in the year. That might be the best team in the country. And they couldn't even get out of their own regional where they were the hosts. And they have, I think, the best pitcher in the draft class in Chase Burns, too. And they just couldn't do it. So it's not – I struggle with this a lot. You're far from the only person to ask because I tend to think of who's got the best prospects for now and future years. That's not who wins necessarily. I think Tennessee, and I did see them earlier this year, that's the best lineup. I have a lot of questions about the pitching staff, and I really wonder how they can get through the gauntlet of Omaha with kind of like 1.5 real starters, maybe 2 if you're generous. I don't know if they're complete enough. That said, who's clearly better? I mean, I got a good look at Virginia last night, going to see them again today. They're kind of comparable. Like there's several teams that are very good, and Tennessee's probably my default choice, but there's no team here that I say they are head and shoulders above everybody else. Some years that would be true. And last year, I think you could have made that case for LSU or for Wake Forest, that they were the class of the country. This year, I see 4 or 5 teams that look like they could be really, really competitive if they get to Omaha, which is probably a good thing. Would make for a good College World Series.
No, it'd be great. It'd be great. It'd be great to follow you. I love having you on, and we'll do more of this. You know that. We appreciate having you on as we get closer to the draft. You know your stuff. So thanks, Keith. Thank you so much.
Yep. My pleasure.
Keith Law, he writes for The Athletic. He's good. Very good. All right, coming up next, he is a new Giant, Trenton Brooks. He's a first baseman. He's got a good story. He'll be with us next right here in the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
I'm good, Marty. Fans, I love to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers Furniture. They've served the Bay Area for over 90 years. Their talented staff work as a team to help their customers find beautiful pieces of furniture to invest in. I've done it. The 50,000 square foot showroom is full of over 150 wonderful carpets, window coverings, and furniture manufacturers. Now, one of the most popular furniture lines that I love to talk about, you know it, is Stressless. Stressless makes high-quality, comfortable furniture, including sectional, sofas, love seats, single reclining chairs, as well as the famous Stressless chair and ottoman. Here's the big news. Starting May 31st and running all the way until June 17th, there's a new Stressless promotion. It's really good. You can save $500 on every Stressless wing-style chair and ottoman in supple Paloma leather. That's Georgie Brothers Furniture. The showroom is in South San Francisco with free parking. Since 1933, the best source for home furnishings. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you. If you're a fan of Original Joe's in San Francisco and Daly City, then you've got to try the newest addition to the group, Little Original Joe's. Brought to you by the Dugan family, this takeout-only restaurant features pizza, pasta, and parmigiana and is located at 15th and West Portal Avenues in San Francisco. Although the highlight is the pizza, where do you try that crust? Little Original Joe's also offers locally sourced rotisserie chicken, Strauss Family Soft Serve, a variety of local and imported wine and beer, and a beautiful retail marketplace. The Little Original Joe's Market is stocked with local, regional, and Italian specialty goods, as well as favorite Joe's staples like the ready-made salads, pastas, sauces, and entrees for you to take, bake, and enjoy at home. I love the lasagna. Check it out. Little Original Joe's open daily from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for takeout and counter service in West Portal in San Francisco.
Prepping you for today's orange and black ball game, we now take you back to Talking Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
Fans, it's great to have you back with us. Marty Laurie here as we get ready for Giants baseball. Joined by Trenton Brooks, and he is a name that we're getting to know as a San Francisco Giant. How are you?
I'm good, Marty. Appreciate you having me.
All right, so I'm doing the show last week, and I get a text from my dear friend, a great pitching coach from college and Cal and places like that, Dave Lawn. He says, you have to have Trenton Brooks on the show. How about that?
I love it. I miss you, Lonnie.
Where did you meet Dave Lawn?
He was my pitching coach my freshman, sophomore year at the University of Nevada, Reno. So, great dude. Love him. He was great.
Well, he speaks very highly of you. He said, get the guy on the show, so we're glad to have you on. Trent, let's go back with your history a little bit of growing up, where you grew up, what baseball was like for you as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, baseball was always my number one. I grew up in a small town outside of San Diego called Alpine, and, I mean, I just went to Padres games growing up, fell in love with baseball at a young age. And me and my dad just grinded away every single day in the batting cages, and that's where it all started.
Who was your guy on the Padres?
On the Padres? Weirdly enough, Joe Mauer was my favorite player way back in the day when I was younger. So, yeah, that's kind of who I followed and kind of became a little Twins fan, too, during that time. So,
living in Southern California, a Twins fan, that took a lot of nerve, I guess.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. You don't.
All right, Trenton Brooks with us. All right, pitching, you said you pitched, but we see you up here as a first baseman. When did you develop the skills to do both?
It's a great question. I don't know. When I was younger, I guess I threw kind of hard for high school and loved to compete on the mound. But I always my first love was definitely playing the field and stepping into the batter's box
and hitting.
Yes, and hitting, of course. Yeah.
All right. Take us through a little bit of high school with you and what your choices were coming out of high school.
Went to Granite Hills High School. We were really good at baseball. It was fun. We had a really good coach, James Davis, that led the way for a lot of us, and really enjoyed my time there. And then. Yeah, I didn't have a ton of choices coming out of high school. I was grateful to receive an offer to play baseball at the University of Nevada, Reno, and went up there with my family. We checked out the campus and fell in love with it, and it was a great spot.
Yeah. What did you study there?
I was a business major, just a general business major, yeah.
All right. And accounting?
No, the way they did it at the school was it was broad. It's just general business is technically what the degree is called. All right.
Very good. All right, so now you're at Nevada, Reno, and there is a time when you become a professional player. How does that come about?
Yeah, you go through the draft process as a junior, and it's fun. It's a lot, and it was a good time. And when I heard my name get called, I was very grateful and just happy and ready to get started with my professional baseball experience.
Well, now, did you get drafted as a two-way player?
No, I didn't. I got drafted as an outfielder. Thank God, because I wasn't very good at pitching.
What were you like as a pitcher? What was college like as a pitcher in college?
It was fun. I was, Coach Lon used to always tell me, he was like, you're not a pitcher. You're a position player that can compete on the mound. So, that made it easy for me. Just tried to get up there, compete. Didn't think too much. Just tried to, fill up the zone and really just, do whatever I could to get the guy out,
Okay. All right. That's baseball. All right. So you're in the minor leagues. Who drafts you, and what is the minor league career like? Because it takes some time to get up to the big leagues.
Yeah, I got drafted by the Cleveland Guardians and ran my 7 years minor league career out with them, and was grateful to, sign a minor league deal with the A's, and had a great time over there and over in Las Vegas. And then I think it was mid to late August, got traded over to the Giants. So I finished the rest of the last 5 or 6 weeks with Sacramento.
The A's are going to play in Las Vegas, they think, someday. What was it like playing ball in Las Vegas?
It was great. We played, 25 minutes outside the Strip in a city called Summerlin, and I mean, it's up and coming. It's really nice. It's, the Scottsdale of, Vegas. And, no, I loved it. My family got to, come out a lot. It was really close to, San Diego, where I'm from. So it was really cool. Got to spend a lot of family time, and obviously playing in that new AAA stadium was really cool.
Trenton Brooks with us. It's always interesting when Ron Wotus and I do the show on Sunday. He managed the minor leagues for a long time. And we'll always tell stories about things that happen in the minor leagues, the bus rides, the people, the mascots, the crazy performances. Give me a few things from the minor leagues.
Things are a little bit different now, post-COVID. You have those 6-game series, and then every Monday's a day off. But I remember, 2017, 2018, 2019, you'd be in, I don't even know, Cedar Rapids, and the next day you got a game in Bowling Green, so those were fun, at the time I probably didn't think it was as fun, but, those 12, 13, 14-hour bus rides, you look back and, it was pretty cool. Those were fun experiences. Got to, obviously, a lot of time to, talk to your teammates and learn a lot about them, and it really was a cool experience.
What did you do on a bus for 13 or 14 hours? My God.
Sleep if you could. That always didn't work for me. A lot of card games, a lot of movies. I would download movies before we got on them just so I could have, go at least a couple hours that way. So, yeah, you do whatever you can just to keep yourself busy or just fall asleep, one or the other.
Okay. Well, you paid your dues. You did. That's why I'm glad to have you on. You paid your dues. I'm glad we could get the backstory. But you do get up to the big leagues. So how do you get the call? How does it all happen?
Dave Brundage, the manager over in Sacramento, gave me a call. He's messing with me a little bit. And then he finally told me, hey, you're going to San Francisco. Congratulations. And, just a lot of emotions. And, it was such a cool experience. And, got to call my wife and then my wife and kids, and got to call my mom and dad. And, they've been through this journey for forever as well. So this is big for them, too. And it was a really, really cool experience. Yeah. Really, really cool.
No, come on. It's a big deal. And I remember the first hit, seeing the stands, the fans, the family. Come on, they went nuts when you got the first hit.
Yeah, they did. That was really cool. I was in the dugout. I was looking at one of the iPads, looking out over the at-bat, and I clicked you can click like broadcast or whatever and see it. Yeah, it was cool. I got to see it in the dugout shortly after. It was really cool. It was super emotional, and it's something I've worked really hard for a long time. So very grateful and blessed to be here.
Yeah,
So.
come on, it's a great story. What position do you? I mean, your first base. We see you there. Do you play other positions?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't this year, but I last year I played a lot of outfield. Year before that, I played a lot of first base. Year before that, I played a lot of outfield. So I would say, I mean, I guess this year I'd be primarily first base, but I've definitely had my time in the outfield.
All right. So what's the biggest challenge of being a big leaguer, being a hitter in the major leagues?
These pitchers are really good. You gotta, they might make one mistake in that bat, and you got to be ready to hit it. Yeah, I mean, that's still baseball, though, and, there's one extra deck, and that's how I try to look at it. One extra deck and a couple more people, and try to keep it simple and just, play the same game.
And you get a better paycheck.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Very grateful for that.
All right, Trent, I'm glad you're on the show. I'm glad Dave Lawn texted me, and it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm glad you're up here. You're a good kid. You've put in your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Marty. Thank you for having me.
All right, that is Trenton Brooks. Nice to have him on. So we'll see what kind of action he gets if they can use him at first base, maybe defensively behind Wilmer Flores. All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning early, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's Spencer Howard, the former Ranger. He's done well for the Giants so far, and this will be his first start for the Giants. So he goes today against Andrew Heaney, the left-hander. 7 home runs given up to right-handed hitters, so that lineup, I'm sure, will be packed with righties for the Giants today. Walter coming up next with our Giants warm-up. Have a good day, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., right here, KNBR 680 1045, the sports leader.
Seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one! Deep right field! Gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there! Goodbye!
On the sports leader.
Welcome to the Giants warm-up show. It's Walter Icabaseta here, taking you all the way up to first pitch. Game 2 between the Giants and the Rangers. Giants try to get their first series win since they gave Giants fans hope at the beginning of their last homestand against the Philadelphia Phillies. So they are trying to win that series today. They have Spencer Howard on the mound, and they are going up against Andrew Heaney, the lefty. So none other than Austin Slater, everyone's favorite Giant, is on the lineup today, hitting leadoff. We'll get to the lineup in a little bit. But man, I mean, what a solid pitching performance from Logan Webb. He just continually goes out there and pumps 7 innings like it's nothing. I mean, he has the most, I believe it's 8 on the year, going into the 7th inning. That leads all major league starters. So Logan Webb was on full display, but also who was really a huge impact. And I think that is going to be a huge a huge hitter in the lineup, is Wilmer Flores moving forward. And everyone's favorite fanboy, Wilmer. And there it is, Raph. There it is with Wilmer Flores. He has just been on a tear recently, having the grand slam in no, keep it going, Raph. Why'd you stop the music? Yeah, there it is. There. But he's going out there hitting the grand slam when the Giants needed him most, when he was needed most in Arizona, with the grand slam that pretty much just it sparked the comeback, I guess, or the shot to the arm to stop the bleeding, because man, it was just a string. Hell yeah, Raph. But it was just a string of just bad baseball for the San Francisco Giants ever since the Yankees came into town, and it wasn't looking too good, and that kind of trickled over into the Arizona series. But then you had Wilmer Flores, who was starting to put together solid ABs, had that grand slam that stopped the bleeding, stopped that 6-game losing streak in the desert. And then what does he do to follow it up? He's like, yeah, you like the grand slam? He goes and hits 2 home runs last night in route to the win. So Wilmer Flores, again, this guy, he was not starting for a majority of this season. It was given to Lamont Wade, and Lamont Wade, rightfully so. I mean, Wade has been on-base machine, but now we have multiple versions of Lamont Wade when you look at the San Francisco Giants now with Matt Chapman having his on-base streak extended to 24 games. And then you look at Elliot Ramos, who we'll talk about later today with Elliot Ramos. He is just amazing. We had him on the Papa and Lunch show yesterday. We had the interview with him, and he was just pretty much breaking down just his entire journey. But we'll talk about Elliot Ramos. He's batting in the 2-hole today. But just the fact that he is able to get on base as well. And now that was a big concern for me as we were looking at the Giants advancing past Lamont Wade, with Lamont Wade being out until, about a month. So everyone was trying to figure out who is going to be the difference maker at the top of the lineup. You already have Jung-Hoo Lee, who is no longer on the team with his injury, out for the season. And then follow that up. I think it was like maybe a week after, you had Lamont Wade Jr. go down. And those are the 2 top guys in your lineup at that point. Then it was kind of you throw Luis Matos in there, and you throw Tyro Estrada in there, trying to figure out who can be that spark plug. And it's fantastic to see that Elliot Ramos is taking this opportunity and running with it. He has been in this Giants organization since he was 17 or 2017. I believe he was 17 in 2017, because now he's 24 in 2024. So that's easy to remember how old he is. So he was born in 2000, I guess, Raph. But Elliot Ramos, we'll continue to talk about him, talk about the Giants lineup in a little bit. But let's continue to talk about Wilmer Flores, because he is someone that, again, with Lamont Wade Jr. going down, he is going to get playing time, and he is someone that the Giants have desperately needed to add thump to this lineup. I mean, he had a phenomenal year last year, and just this year had 1 home run 50 games into the season, just 1 home run, and he wasn't starting. There wasn't a flow to him. But the one thing that I think that a lot of people can get behind with Wilmer Flores is that he has stayed ready. He has stayed ready, and it's in particular to this stretch of games to where he is now starting to find his swing. And it came off of Michael Lorenzen, where Wilmer Flores pretty much has faced him a lot in his career, and he attributes that experience to seeing Lorenzen to why he hit the 2 home runs last night.
The starter today, I face him a lot, so it's a lot easier to go out there with a plan, and all I did was execute the plan. I got 2 good pitches to hit. That's the advantage of facing a pitcher that's been in the lead too.
Yeah, so Wilmer Flores took extreme advantage of the knowledge that he has on Michael Lorenzen, had those 2 home runs in the game, and essentially knocked him out of the game. So this 2-game stretch here was all on the back of Wilmer Flores. Obviously, Elliot Ramos contributing to that lineup as well. And yesterday, I mean, I don't know, you got to kind of go back and look at all the box scores for the whole season. But yesterday, everyone in the lineup got on base. I know Wisely didn't get a hit, but he did walk. Everyone got on base at one point or another in last night's game. And that's just where this offense, and I know 4 of the 5 runs were scored on home runs. And we all know, Giants fans, we know that is not the formula for the Giants. Actually, the formula is, I was looking it up. I'll give it in diamond notes, but they have a really good record when they score a certain amount and they only allow a certain amount. So that's the record for, or that's the success, the road to success for San Francisco Giants. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. But Wilmer Flores, he is someone that is going to be a huge factor for the San Francisco Giants with Lamont Wade out. And Wilmer just pretty much talked about the mentality of this team, especially going through this rough stretch of ball games. I mean, you had the Yankees come in town, and they got their teeth kicked in. It was not good baseball from that point, and it was so disappointing because they had that huge series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and they looked pretty good with the Blake Snell start, but then he goes on the IL, and that's another thing too. 808 KNBR is 415-808-5627. Go ahead and give me a call. We're in the YouTube chat as well. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on the San Francisco Giants, because right now they are 2 games under 500. And how are you feeling about this team? Because it's really interesting that when you look at the National League, there's only 4 teams that are above 500 right now, and that is the division winners with the Philadelphia Phillies, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Milwaukee Brewers, and then you throw in the Braves. Those are the only teams that are above 500. Now you look at everyone else that is going to factor in at some point or another in this wild card race, and you figure that, yeah, the Giants are going for the division, but you figure that is going to be a tough hill to climb. So you have to look at the wild card. That is where I think that the Giants are going to factor in when you look at the playoff picture when it comes to August and September. You look at all those teams that are bunched up in there. Every single one of them, they have 30 losses, 33, 32 losses. Like they all mirror the Giants, and that's where, when you look at this team, they haven't hit on all cylinders, and neither has any of those other teams. That's why they're all floating around 500. But when you look at how much the Giants have been decimated by injury, it's impressive that they are still staying afloat. But my question to you is, the Giants still in the mix? Is this a team that will continually float around 500, or when everyone gets healthy, when you have a healthy starting rotation really is the big key, because the offense is kind of what it is, but guys are underperforming and maybe they start to hit their stride. You'd like to see Jorge Soler get a home run late in Wednesday's matchup. You like to see that Wilmer Flores is starting to heat up. You like to see Matt Chapman with his consistency and Elliot Ramos. You just start going through the lineup, and let's see what Austin Slater can do hitting leadoff today. We'll have to see if he can contribute anything to this San Francisco Giants team, because they're going to need everyone in that offense. But when the starting rotation gets healthy, when you have Blake Snell going out there and pitching like he's meant to pitch, we have not seen that yet, and it's frustrating for Giants fans. But it sounds like, we'll get into an injury update a little later in the warm-up show, but it sounds like Blake Snell is the anticipation is that the injury wasn't as bad as the first time. So he's throwing on flat ground, I believe, today, and next week he should ramp up to throwing off of a mound. So we'll have to see when he can start that rehab assignment, and then he comes back. But when you start getting, Alex Cobb, when you start seeing Robbie Ray updates every single week, that's when you start to get excited about this Giants rotation, to where they are kind of struggling right now. Like, they are relying on Logan Webb going 7 innings, and that resets your bullpen moving forward. And then you go, all right, well, we have Kyle Harrison, who is kind of hit and miss, but he's been doing a good job to this point in the season. Then you look at Jordan Hicks, but outside of that, Jordan Hicks has been great. But outside of those 3, there's a juggling match that goes on. We've been seeing a lot of bullpen and featured guys being thrown into the rotation, and today it is not going to be that. It's going to be Spencer Howard. It looks like it's going to be a traditional start, but we'll have to see how long he can go. If he can go 4 or 5, that's why the start to this series and the start of Logan Webb last night was so important. We'll talk more about Logan Webb later in the show as well, because they're pitching in Arlington. The All-Star game is in Arlington. So is Logan Webb an All-Star for the San Francisco Giants team? And how many All-Stars do they have? Again, 808 KNBR. Go ahead and give me your calls. Go ahead and hit me up on the text line, Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. And I am also in there in the YouTube chat and on Twitch as well. But more on Wilmer Flores, and let's go to Bob Melvin, because Bob Melvin has been pretty vocal about this team, and he knows, and I feel like all Giants fans, we're clinging on to the hope that this team is not what it is right now. This team can get better. Is there another gear that this team can get to, or are they a team that just floats around 500? I think that there is another gear that the Giants could get to, and Bob Melvin, pretty much with all the home runs, with the 3 home runs yesterday, and you start seeing the power stroke for a lot of these guys. And again, this isn't a home run hitting team, but now they're starting to put together strong at-bats, and there's just a ton of guys on this team that is capable of going yard.
You know, we really have a lot of guys the ability to hit some home runs. We've gone some stretches where we haven't. We've probably played our best baseball and we have hit some home runs. So it makes a big difference when you can put especially a couple runs on the board, close game like that. You know, Conforto's homer was huge, and kind of Wilmer got us there with it. So big part of the win tonight.
Yeah, it's so funny. You forget about Michael Conforto's home run, but that's someone that, I mean, when was the last time that he hit a home run? It's been a while for Michael Conforto. He's been battling back from his injury as well. But that's the thing is that this Giants team has not hit on all cylinders at one point in this season. And I understand it's baseball and there's ebbs and flows of a 162 season. And when your starting rotation is not on par, that's when you need the offense to pick it up. And when the offense isn't on par, which it seems like a lot of the time for this Giants team to date, but maybe that changes when everyone starts to be healthy and understand their roles, because that's also something too is, you know, with Jung-Hoo Lee going out and Lamont Wade going out, they've been really trying to put together pieces that aren't necessarily pieces that should be fitting in the top of the lineup. Now, I love to see Elliot Ramos getting the leadoff opportunity because he has been getting on base I think it was 25 of the 26 games he's been on base. And that's just impressive. I think it's 24 actually, 24 out of 26 games. It's been impressive to see from Elliot Ramos. So the fact that he is able to, and I was a little nervous when I saw the lineup and saw Ramos in the leadoff spot because you saw what happened with Luis Matos, and Matos came up here, and I know a lot of Giants fans, we were talking about it all week, and with Slater getting recalled or Slater being reinstated from the injured list from the concussion protocol, and his rehab starting, and then having Luis Matos go back down to AAA, and he had a couple of hits last night in Sacramento. I know a lot of Giants fans were upset by that move, but let's just be honest. Luis Matos was not necessarily making his case to stay on the team. I love Luis Matos. Do not get me wrong. Love everything that he is doing on the San Francisco Giants team, what he was doing when he got called up and when he was asked to be that center fielder, asked to be that leadoff guy. But when he got thrown into that leadoff position because the Giants just didn't have one, that's where I think the approach changed, and he lost a little bit of his confidence because he wasn't hitting well out of the leadoff spot. So we'll have to see when Luis Matos can come back, and everyone had their displeasure with Austin Slater. Austin Slater is good defensively. We'll have to see what he can do with the bat, and he is in there at the leadoff spot today. But Logan Webb was pretty much just phenomenal last night, and he is really proving to be a huge leader for the San Francisco Giants club. And he was giving all his praise, and we're going to give Logan his praise coming up shortly, but he was giving all his praise to Wilmer Flores in being a professional hitter, and just how much that goes into the type of team that they have. So here was Logan Webb after the game talking about his guy who gave him the 2 bombs.
For his entire career, when Flo gets hot, he gets hot. He's a pro's pro. He hasn't changed one bit since I've met him. Every day he does the same exact thing. I think when you're pretty consistent in what you do, I think good things happen. I think it's always kind of weird, I feel like the same things happen since he's been here. Maybe doesn't play as much early on, and then starts to play more, and then the flow comes out, right? He's just a professional hitter. I think every pitchers that have faced them before will probably say the exact same thing. He lets me know about the one time I faced him, which I think he went 3 for 3 off of me. It was my debut. That was fun. He's just, like I said, he's a pro's pro. It's really fun to watch him do his stuff day in and day out, and obviously, come to fruition a little bit.
Yeah, and he's a pro's pro, always stays ready, and now you're starting to see the fruits of his labor, and now he's starting to put together solid at-bats, and that is something that is huge for the San Francisco Giants if they want to be competitive while they wait for reinforcements with the bat, with Lamont Wade Jr. Sidelined until, I believe he is sidelined until July. Or late June is what I'm seeing here, and we'll get a full injury update. But I was getting a lot of tweets on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call, and you can go ahead and hit me up on there at Walleezy. That is at WALLEEZY. You can go ahead and hit me up on there because I did an episode of Rounding Third and King. I don't know if you listen to the podcast that airs every weekend, Rounding Third and King. We have a lot of good interviews on there, but with Bruce Bochy being in the other dugout, it just started to bring back memories. So I do want to ask the audience, if you're listening today, what your best memories are of Bruce Bochy, because Bruce Bochy was one of the guys that started it all. I mean, with the San Francisco Giants in those 3 and 5 years, and it was just incredible to see that run. So we'll talk about Logan Webb, but we'll get your thoughts on Bruce Bochy. Go ahead and give us a call at 415-808-5627. That's 415-808-KNBR. Go ahead and give us a call. I want to hear your thoughts, what your biggest moments, top 5 if you want to run them through real quick, or give me your top, and I'll give you mine on the other side. But we'll talk about Logan Webb, all-star status, Bruce Bochy on the other side, memories. The feels are all there. Giants going for a series sweep. Game 2 coming up at 1:05. We'll take you all the way up to 12:05 for the Giants official pregame show. And you're listening to the Giants warm-up show right now on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
needed this from Logan Webb, pitching deep into the game with some uncertainty with their pitching plans for the rest of the series. Here's a swing and a high chop. Webb off the mound, third base side, gloves it, throws to first. Got him. Nice stretch from Wilmer Flores on a throw that was a little wide. And Logan Webb, for the 8th time this year, completes 7 innings, more than any pitcher in baseball here this season.
Our KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back to the Giants warm-up show. That was Logan Webb going 7. You heard it there from Joe Rizzo. The most, 8th time, the most in Major League Baseball. It's just it's kind of a turn back time moment every time that Logan Webb does step on the mound, and that is a question that I want to pose to you, the listener. Is Logan Webb your San Francisco Giants all-star representative? Is he going to return back to Arlington next month with the all-star game, the Midsummer Classic, as everyone calls it? But Logan Webb was just phenomenal. He had 6 Ks, went 7 innings, and this guy has just been electric. And there has been the narrative on Logan Webb that he hasn't been pitching well on the road, and just his last 3 has just been lights out. I think he's gone 7 in 2 of the road starts, at least 6. I know for sure that it's just a streak of just dominance on the road from Logan Webb. I think that last road trip he had a ERA below 1, so he's incredible. But 415-808-5627. That's 415-808-KNBR. Give me your thoughts on Logan Webb. Give me your thoughts also on Bruce Bochy memories, your favorite that you have, because that's something that every time that we face Boch and until the end of time, until he calls it officially a career, I will always remember back the best moments of the just dynastic run of the San Francisco Giants. If you were listening to Rounding Third and King earlier this morning, I gave my top 5. I'll run through really quick, and then we'll get out to the phone lines for your thoughts on the San Francisco Giants or on Bochy, if you have any of those thoughts as well. But my top 5, I'll run through them really quick. If you missed any of that on Rounding Third and King, and I believe it's airing at some point tomorrow morning, but probably at like 5 or 6 in the morning. So if you're awake at that time, go ahead. It's also available on the KNBR podcast page. But number 5 for me, because I was in attendance for 2 of these moments for myself. Number 5 for me had to be the double mound visit, showing up Don Mattingly. I was down there in Chavez Ravine. As everyone knows in the chat, I'm apparently banned from ever going back to Los Angeles. But let me remind you of this game, July 20th in 2010, the double mound visit game with Don Mattingly going out there talking to Broxton twice. James Loney asked him a question. I was confused. I was sitting down the right field line in a ocean of Dodger fans, just pounding into me every single inning, and it was a Tim Lincecum versus Clayton Kershaw start, and then everyone remembers your favorite Dodger, Andre Ethier. Guy, I hated that guy. Andre Ethier, he went ahead and hit a 2-run bomb in the first inning off of Tim Lincecum. It was not a good day. Lincecum gave up 5, and Kershaw on the mound. You just figured, all right, well, two batters or 4 batters into it, I'm just like, well, why did I even come? But the Giants will battle back, and then that double mound visit sparked the rally. Andres Torres hit a double into left center field, and I just remember all the looks on all the Dodger fan faces as I was leaving Chavez Ravine. It was phenomenal. So that's my number 5. Number 4 has to be the no hitter for Tim Lincecum. Just so much of the success for the Giants came from Tim Lincecum and Bruce Bochy. That was the combination that Giants fans loved. Number 3 for me, it should be a little higher on the list. I'm actually surprised that I listed it as 3. It's my list. I don't know why I'm surprised. But number 3 for me was the first World Series championship. And if you go back and listen to Rounding Third and King, when I did that, I played the highlights of the Renteria and the final out. And it was incredible. It did bring a little bit of tears back to just all the emotions, right? Just going through all those years and what was going on in 2010 at that time. It was just phenomenal. And then number 2, it was the farewell. I was in attendance for that one, the farewell to Bruce Bochy, where he spoke to the fans, and you can really tell that he loved his time as a San Francisco Giant. And then number 1, for me, it was easy. This was the most exciting World Series, the 2014 World Series. That was a huge one for me, with Madison Bumgarner coming out there, and you could just tell everyone in the dugout, in the bullpen, was jacked up, and every fan that was there in Kansas City was just livid that Madison Bumgarner was. They were like, "This is illegal. You can't do that. This cannot happen." Yeah, it happened, and it was beautiful. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on Bruce Bochy, your moments from Bruce Bochy. But we're also talking about Logan Webb. We came in with that highlight with him going 7 innings last night. He just looked phenomenal, and Bob Melvin pretty much was just loving everything that Logan Webb was able to do. And you heard it there with Joe Rizzo saying you didn't know the certainty. Now we know that Spencer Howard is pitching tonight or today, and Keaton Winn is coming back from the injured list and pitching tomorrow. So, but now we know. But before that, it was all TBDs. We didn't really know what was happening after the Logan Webb start. And I would maybe guess that if Logan Webb didn't go deep, maybe it was a Keaton Winn start today, and then Spencer Howard to be on Sunday. It'd be really interesting, because now with Logan Webb going deep, that just sets you up for the rest of your starts. The bullpen is rested. They had the off day, and then you barely use them for the rest of the game yesterday. But let's go out to the phone lines. I know you guys have been waiting patiently. Limo Dave in Lincoln wants to talk about last night's game. What's up, Limo Dave?
Hey, well, you threw a lot of questions out there. So I guess the first one I want to answer is Mad Bum.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously in the World Series. And, statistically, Madison Bumgarner needs to get in the Hall of Fame if what's his name from the Dodgers does.
Clayton Kershaw?
Kershaw. Because, Madison Bumgarner is the greatest World Series pitcher of all time. 36 innings pitched on the biggest stage and a microscopic .25 earned run average. Look it up. That's incredible. Nobody's done that in the history of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So that's number 1. Number 2, last night's game, that is the perfect Logan Webb game. 7 innings he pitches. You bring in your setup guy, and then your closer. And that's the end of the story. So you've shortened the game to 7 innings is what you've basically done. Lights out. You got the run support that he needed, whether it be by way of home runs or scoring 5 runs. How many games has Logan Webb left with the lead? I can think of 2 where the closers have blown it for him, so he got a no decision. Okay, so you got that. Logan Webb is the face of the Giants pitching staff, number 1. It's nice that Kyle Harrison is up and the potential for some other guys coming up to help him out, because he's just incredible. Bruce Bochy, okay. You stole my thunder with the Don Mattingly thing, where he
it was a great time. It was a great one, yeah.
Dude, that was awesome. I was watching that game. That was a great time. I was like, look at the Dodgers. They're all the fans, all the puzzled looks on their faces. The other thing, I got to talk to Jeremy Offeld over in Scottsdale, spring training, like a year after playoffs. I forget what year it was. But Jonathan Sanchez came out of the game, and there was that little bit of a hassle down the first base line. Bochy goes out and starts arguing with the umpire. And what it did, it bought Offeld time to warm up on the mound, because he had to keep throwing. And I thought that was more of a strategic argument. He wasn't going to get himself kicked out, but he had enough of an excuse. So he pulls Sanchez out, and Sanchez is down the line arguing. He goes out to see him, and Affelt's on the mound warming up. And then, of course, Affelt throws 2, basically perfect innings right after that. That was a nice strategic move, and I asked Affelt about that. And he kind of smiled, and he said, well, if you want to look at it that way, I'm sure there's something to it. But, so you not only have a manager, but you got a baseball genius. The man was a catcher for so many years, and catchers seem to always make really good managers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Love the call, Limo Dave. Really appreciate it, man. And yeah, no, you just broke it down perfectly with that call in that Bruce Bochy, he was playing checkers when everyone else was playing chess. That is just, you look at it with that moment with Affeldt that you were just talking about, and then the double mound visit, man. Like, I didn't even know what was going on sitting in the stands down the right field line. I didn't even know that there was a double mound visit. And then when I found out, I was just like, man, Boch is just on it. He's on a different planet than everyone else. So love the call, Limo Dave. Really appreciate it, man. And we have another caller, Braylon in Brentwood. We're talking about Logan Webb. We all are also talking about Bruce Bochy, but we were talking about Logan Webb. I posed the question earlier on if Logan Webb is your surefire all-star without a question. Braylon, what's your answer to that question, man? Let me hear it.
Well, I think the only answer is yes, absolutely. I mean, what this guy's done for the squad, I mean, every time this guy goes out on the mound, you feel like the Giants have a chance of winning the ball game. Again, last night, 7 beautiful innings of work, only the 2 runs and a little bit of an ugly inning there, albeit, but another remarkable innings. This guy leads the league in innings again, and I don't see any chance that he gets snubbed of an all-star appearance for the second year in a row after last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's you would love to see him get into the All-Star game. I think that's something that is driving him to. I mean, not only compete. I mean, he doesn't need All-Star appearances or All-Star games to ramp up. Logan Webb is the leader of this team, and he is a bulldog on the mound. He doesn't need any extra motivation. But the fact that the All-Star game is in Arlington and he's in that ballpark and will most likely go back. And Braylon, thank you for the call. Really appreciate it. Logan Webb is going to be an all-star this year. I mean, he has to be. When you look at this Giants team, how many all-stars are there on this roster? Was Lamont Wade Jr. an all-star prior to him landing on the injured list? There's not really a lot of guys offensively. Now you can look to Jordan Hicks, who had a great start to the season, and you can also look to Camilo Doval, but he hasn't really, last year he was phenomenal. He's a surefire all-star pitcher, but he has had a little hiccups down the line. So this year, not necessarily. He's still a lights-out closer. I'd love to have him out there 10 times out of 10, 11 times out of 10. But as far as being a all-star caliber player this year, I think it definitely goes to Logan Webb. So we will take a quick break. If you have any more thoughts on All-Stars, have any more thoughts on the San Francisco Giants as they go into Game 2 of this series against the Rangers and Bruce Bochy. If you have any Bruce Bochy moments, I'm in there in the YouTube chat as well. I see all your comments. Rockin' New Era. What are you doing in Brentwood, man? What's going on? You coming to Del Cielo in Martinez? I'll meet you there. But yeah, man. Anyone that has thoughts on Bruce Bochy, thoughts on the San Francisco Giants, thoughts on Logan Webb, just pretty much setting the stage and allowing the team to pretty much put together the starting rotation as they see fit going into the rest of this series. So we'll talk about that more on the other side. We'll give you the injury update, promised you on that. And we do have key players of the game coming up on the other side as well, or key player of the week. A lot of good options. I don't know which way I'm going to go. I'm still thinking about it, but we will get to that on the other side. You're listening to the Giants warm-up show on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
2-1 pitch. Flores swings and drives one deep left field towards the corner. This one on its way. It is gone. And Wilmer Flores has done it again. Home runs in back-to-back at-bats to start his night. It's 2-0 Giants.
Welcome back to our KNBR Giants warm-up on the Sports Leader.
All right, you heard it there. Wilmer Flores, the bat is starting to heat up. That only means good things for the San Francisco Giants. Man, Wilmer Flores is really turning it up, and Raph, love the music. Dropped a bomb on me if you're listening. If you're not on YouTube, I don't think you get the musical element, so you just see me just bobbing my head, just looking like an idiot. But so you wonder, key player of the week, and I was kind of floating between Wilmer Flores or Elliot Ramos, both deserving, but with the power display or the power on full display with Wilmer Flores, got to make him the key player of the week, sponsored by Key Point Credit Union, Next Generation Neighborhood Banking. Wilmer Flores is on a tear since the last game in Arizona, hit that grand slam, had 5 RBIs in that game, and he followed it up with 2 home runs last night. And as I mentioned earlier, he went the first 50 games. First 50 games with 1 home run, has 3 in the last 2 games. So Wilmer Flores is our key player of the week. Again, I did mention that it could be Wilmer Flores. Now, Elliot Ramos. I did mention that it could be Elliot Ramos because he is just doing next level things at this time in the season, in this time of his career. He is just looking phenomenal at the plate. He looks confident. He is showing a lot of power, and it's looked great for Elliot Ramos, and he has really been asked to do a lot and be a facilitator, a rally starter for the San Francisco Giants, and that's why there's no question that he is hitting in the 2-hole today, because they need him to get on base, and he has been doing that. He is staying aggressive. He's being patient at the plate, and we had the opportunity to have Elliot Ramos live on our airwaves yesterday. If you missed any of that, go ahead and go to knbr.com on the podcast page as well, with our interview, Papa and Lund's interview with Elliot Ramos. And he was just pretty much saying how he is approaching his at-bats and how he's approaching this opportunity. And this is what he had to say. This is cut O, Raf. If you have that one ready, just let me know. But Elliot Ramos, he is just proving to be just a staple for the San Francisco Giants team. And a lot of people were waiting. Giants fans were waiting. And he's been a name that has been floated around for such a long time. It's been floated around for such a long time. He's been in this organization since 2017 and has gone through the ranks and has gone through his rough patches. And that's why I think it is so important for Luis Matos to go through these growing pains, to go through, and it doesn't have to necessarily be at the major league level, because Ramos did have some pains at the major league level. It didn't look good. And then he had him in AAA as well. But that's what builds the character, that you go through that experience factor. But now Elliot Ramos just has an approach. He has something that, Luis Matos can learn from, and just watching what Elliot Ramos is doing. And that just comes with experience. Ramos has 2 years in the Giants organization on Matos. So maybe down the line, I do like what I see from Luis Matos. I do like it, but I don't know if he's at that level yet. But he could definitely get there, because there was a moment in time where I honestly was a little skeptical on what Elliot Ramos could be. But here's Elliot Ramos yesterday on Papa and Lund discussing his approach to approach at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not there, if it's not my pitch, I feel like I'm not gonna swing. Honestly, if I have to and it's too close, I would try to put it in play. But if it's not there, I want to try to make the right decision by taking it. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I just want to stay aggressive, stay with my plan, and just keep grinding my at bats.
Yeah, and he's been doing that. And, since he's been up here, he's been grinding at bats. He's been getting walks. And I don't know how everyone else feels about it. I know I'm probably talking to a certain demographic of people when you look at the bat flip. All right. This has been a ongoing discussion for like the last 10 years. And I'm talking specifically to my girlfriend's dad, my future father-in-law, Roger, out there, if he's listening. He does not like the bat flip at all when it happens against the Giants. And I think a lot of Giants fans feel that way too. We were talking about the bat flip not too long ago with Juan Soto when he hit that homer, and he flipped the hell out of that bat. I like the bat flip, even if it's against my team. I do like it. I like the flair. I like the excitement. But do you like it on a walk? I absolutely love it. I love the over-the-top bat flip of Elliot Ramos because, I mean, that's just a swagger. He brings that to the team. You need that energy source. You need that swag in this lineup, and he brings that all the time. And Raph, let's go ahead and go down to cut R. I'm going to skip Q, but let's go down to R, where he's now starting to play center field, right? And that's why Luis Matos was able to go down to Sacramento. And, a lot of people were kind of speculating on, well, can he play center field? And he feels pretty comfortable about it. And there's been multiple instances where it's been documented that he has gone to Bob Melvin and say, hey, I can do this. So this is what he was talking about, playing full time at center field with Papa and Lund yesterday.
If they give me the chance, I can definitely try for sure. I played center field like coming up from the minor leagues until 2021. That's when I started actually playing in the corner. So I feel pretty confident that I can play in center and I can make a good job. I can get the job done for sure.
Yeah, so he could definitely get the job for sure, and he is in center field, and I think that that's going to be a reoccurring thing when you look at the Giants' roster construction and their lineup. And speaking of the lineup, I'll go ahead and give you one. Been teasing you with it all day, but the lineup goes as stated here. Hitting leadoff, I did mention earlier, Austin Slater is hitting leadoff in right field, and the man of the hour of the week, San Francisco Giants, Elliot Ramos, is hitting in the 2-hole in center field. Wilmer Flores with that hot bat, keep it hot. Wilmer, he is batting third at first base. Matt Chapman is batting cleanup at third base. You have Michael Conforto hitting fifth in left field. Jorge Soler at DH spot batting sixth. Tyro Estrada batting seventh at second base. Kirk Casale behind the dish batting eighth. And Tyler Fitzgerald batting ninth in the shortstop position today. No Brett Wisely. So again, Slater, Ramos, Flores, Chapman, Conforto, Slater, or Soler, Estrada, Casale, and Fitzgerald. So we will wrap up things on the other side. Going to take a quick break. Going to get you those injury updates on Blake Snell, on Keaton Wynn, who will be returning tomorrow, and some other guys as well. We will continue that conversation and a standings update. Everybody loves that on the warm-up show. So we will continue all that conversation on the other side. You're listening to KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
We're getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
You know, Raph, I have yet to have a cha-cha bowl.
Well, it's
YouTube chat, let me know. Dude, YouTube chat has to let me know, is the cha-cha bowl, is that must-do at Oracle Park when the Giants return home. After this series, they have the Houston Astros. But before we look ahead to the Astros, we got Game 2 today. Spencer Howard is on the mound for the Giants, trying to seal up this series win. And you have Andrew Haney, lefty, on the mound for the Texas Rangers. And the Giants are just, you know, they're teetering around 500, and I would like to see just a little bit more consistency as we get into the summer months here. But even below 500, they are still in the hunt, and that is what you like to see, because they have a lot of guys that are on this injured list that have gone on and come back and currently on it. It's been a nightmare scenario for the San Francisco Giants. But quick update, and then I'll get you the standings update, an injury update here. Blake Snell, he was placed on the 15-day injured list earlier this month on June 3rd, but he is starting to throw at 75 feet, and he can resume throwing on the mound as soon as next week. So that is good news for the Giants in the pitching rotation. I did mention that Keaton Wynn with the right forearm strain is coming back. He threw 62 pitches in his latest rehab start in the Arizona Complex League, striking out 6 in 3 2/3 innings. Nick Ahmed still looking like sometime in June, but he is ramping up baseball activities as well. Marco Luciano was placed on the injured list back at the back end of May. He begins his throwing, hitting, and running progression earlier this week as well. Lamont Wade Jr. still targeting a late June same thing, rehabbing in Arizona, started his throwing and hitting progressions earlier this week on June 5th. So Robbie Ray coming back at some point, and Alex Cobb coming back at some point. So you'd like to see what this Giants team can be when you look at where they are health-wise, what they can be when they are at full strength. I'm looking forward to when that happens. But let's go ahead and give you the standings update right before we get you out to the official Giants pregame show starting in about 2 minutes. Let's get you out to the standings update sponsored by the Alameda County Probation Department. Visit joinacpd.org today for a career that matters. Let's start with the National League West. The Dodgers sit firmly atop the National League West. No surprise there. 40-25. They are currently 8 games up on the second place San Diego Padres, who are 1 game below 500. Again, a lot of teams in the National League that are below 500. Padres are sitting at 33-34, 8 games behind the Dodgers, and the Giants right behind the Padres at 8.5 games behind the Dodgers, just half a game behind the Padres, 31-33. Let's try to make it 32-33, and possibly, because can think optimistically, possibly get to a 500 record coming back home. You got Arizona right on the Giants' heels at 30-34, and then all the way at the cellar of the NL West. No surprise there. The Colorado Rockies 22-41. And when you look at the wild card standings, that's where it all matters for the San Francisco Giants. And there is just a cluster of everyone with the same win percentage. There are 4 teams that are tied with the same win percentage. That is the Cubs, the Reds, the Giants, and the St. Louis Cardinals, who the Giants play next week at Rickwood. No, not next week. 2 weeks from. Is it next week? No, 2 weeks from now. I got my days all mixed up. I think they play on the 20th, 19th to 20th, at Rickwood. But when you look at the wild card standings, you have the Atlanta Braves sitting firmly atop that. You have the Padres, and then everyone tied: the Cubs, the Reds, the Giants, and the Cardinals. But the Pirates and the Diamondbacks are sneaking up with the Nationals still there. Everyone is still in the hunt in the National League. So Giants and Rangers coming up next on the Giants pregame show on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
From Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, the Giants and the Texas Rangers once again. Middle game of this 3-game series. The Giants have won 2 straight. They've hit 6 home runs over the last 2 ball games. They'll look to keep it going today as they attempt to secure a series victory behind Spencer Howard, makes his first start of the season here at the major league level. I'm Joe Rizzo along with John Miller getting you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Our